It is 6 a.m. Good morning. Live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans training camp is back as the Titans report to camp today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and practice will start up tomorrow. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Bergonzi both will speak to the media today at 12 p.m., and you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Yesterday, the Titans and second-round rookie Femi agreed to terms on a 4-year, $8.415 million contract, with the first 3 years being fully guaranteed and includes a signing bonus of $2.76 million. The Titans now have signed the entire 2025 draft class, and they are ready for training camp to start. Another NFL news, Green Bay Packers and right tackle Zach Tom agreed to a 4-year, $88 million contract extension with a max value of $92 million. The deal includes a $30.2 million signing bonus, which is the largest signing bonus for an offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Kicking off your Tuesday morning right here on 104.5 The Zone, and it isn't just any old Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee. It is training camp report day. Congratulations, you made it. The offseason, the doldrums of the July summer are behind you. Today, American tackle football players who play for the Tennessee Titans will meet. They will discuss, they will plan, they will proceed forward with the 2025 football season. If you are listening to the sound of my voice this morning, or if you are not very intelligent and you didn't wake up with us at 6 o'clock this morning, that's okay. We forgive you. But just know it is time for football in Music City, USA. Ramon Foster is the 11-year NFL veteran and Vol Network analyst. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. The number is 615-737-1045. We're back, baby.
Yes, sir.
Training camp report day is here. How we doing?
Yes, sir. We're good, man. Not to even, give anybody else credit, but I guess we have to at some point, man. Adam Schefter with like the bomb tweet of the morning, okay? It just lets you know how much we're back, okay? It is 26 of the 32 NFL teams report to training camp today. By Wednesday, the last two teams will break, man. That's the Steelers and that's the Falcons. We're so back.
We're back.
We're back, man. Breathe it in. I know we shouldn't be this huge, you know what I'm saying, like this boisterous about being back to football.
Why not?
Who cares?
That's right.
Who cares?
We're all the way back.
Oh, the old Stephen A. I'm here to tell you, we don't care. All right, it is that simple, man. Speaking of being back, I was back yesterday at my middle school's football practice, all right? First day, Coach Moan, Coach Foster. Mm-hmm. We back, all right? And I was...
Yeah, Coach Foster to them, Coach Moan to me.
Yeah. It's a little bit personal. You know what I'm saying? You short the first name.
That's right.
We personal at that point,
right.
man. But it was fascinating, man, because I had to tell myself because I was so friggin' excited. I'll be honest with you. They are a headache, but they're my headaches, though, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't nobody talk about them or do nothing to them except for me. And I was out there yelling. I was in the mix trying to whip them into shape because we got a scrimmage on Thursday and everything. And it's just we're back, Will. Just simply put, man.
Feels good.
And first day in pads yesterday, so we had to try to get them out on the grass. But listen to me. It is a steamer outside. It's a steamer. It's an oven. It's a convection blowing oven is what I'm telling you. And it blew in a storm. We got caught right dead in the middle of it. Had to go to the gym to finish up a little bit. But the boys were very high-spirited. We got some good work done yesterday, and I was excited. I ain't going to lie to you. It was good being in the element is what I'm telling you.
So as an NFL player today, what is report day like? What goes into today before you really hit the practice field tomorrow?
Today on report day, you check in. We usually check in by 2 o'clock is the time that you had to be there. Most guys got their dorm rooms because we went off campus. Get your dorm rooms For the guys, get your playbooks, that type of stuff. Get your room key, your information packet that you have to have. Man, that is numbers to all of the coaches, to the medical staff, the times that they were going to be there, the meeting times that you had to be available for, your room assignment and who your roommate was. And then it was also fridges outside where if you wanted a small refrigerator, you go get your, a case of water, case of Gatorade, whatever you needed to do. And then it's unpacked, man. Make your bed. And honestly, sit there for a second. Hook up the game system. Gotta have that.
Absolutely.
I don't want to ever not mention that. Gotta hook up the game system more than Netflix and all the other things that you gotta do. But it's getting situated because when you live off, like, away from your resident and you going to camp and stuff like that, or whether you go into a hotel, you want to be as comfortable as you possibly can be in those moments right there. And then there's also the other side of it too, where when you with us walking in, it's a plethora of media availability there. Try to sneak past them, and then it's over to the weight room. You know why? Conditioning test.
Mm-hmm.
That first day, you really don't have any time to really catch your breath. You really don't have any time to get your mind wrapped around it. That's why I say, as soon as you get your room set up, take a second. Go weigh in. For the guys that are under or over, which you shouldn't be most times. And now everybody usually checks in on weigh-in. It's the conditioning test that get folks. I had somebody recently tell me, too, like, conditioning tests are almost a thing of the past.
Really?
Conditioning tests. You know why?
What's that?
GPS.
Oh, makes sense.
They can track you.
How fast you're moving and how hard your heart rate's going.
From January all the way through. And they get maximum numbers.
Sure.
And getting those maximum numbers throughout the duration of the summertime workouts, they can tell if days you've been dogging it or days you're just tired.
They can't take away the conditioning test, though, because you're more likely to be conditioned because you don't want to absolutely get bodied in the conditioning test.
You're preaching right now.
Yeah, right.
Or the overkill of conditioning, too, where, like, the anxiety of getting ready for the conditioning test.
Yeah, it's good.
Makes you over. I ain't
a little
say,
bit of discomfort.
Yeah, discomfort is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's super unique. And from that point, Will, team meeting, welcome everybody in. First day is they trick you too. First 2 days in training camp. You want to know why? Steak and lobster. Okay, they give you some nice.
They
meal.
lure you into a false sense of security.
2 weeks in is hard burger patties and dry chicken.
Spam.
Spam, basically. But that first day is like a huge onboarding, getting familiarized with everybody. It's the bros is back is what it is in that moment.
Titans still have the offseason competition going on between 8 teams where they've divided up teams. That was not just a mini camp and OTAs thing. So I'm sure competition between players, between coaches will continue today. I know that was featured on the Titans of Tennessee series that dropped on the Titans YouTube page last night. That was interesting. Some good stuff within that. But then they also have a training camp award as well that they're going to give up based off of which team of the 8 split up around the roster is on time, I guess, and, on the field stuff, weight room stuff, other things that are up for grabs in terms of competition. But interested to see who goes on what lists today. I know A to Z Sports first with the reports. Yesterday, L'Jarius Sneed and Lloyd Cushenberry expected to start the year on PUP. With Sneed, what do you make of that with him? Because he says he is in the best shape of his life. He's going to start training camp on the PUP list. One of those things has to be untrue, and I don't think it's starting the season on the PUP list.
I think it's his way of not being involved in practice to hold him back for his plan.
Okay.
I honestly don't take
Fair
a
enough.
hold. Yeah, that is the easiest way to do it, and that's why yesterday, I didn't know L'Jarius going to start off on PUP. I legitimately thought he would be a day one go guy in camp. But that's why Roger McCreary was so important to me on my top 5 guys.
Yeah.
Is those reps need to go to somebody that absolutely need them. Like, he can work passively on the side and meetings and stuff like that. But I feel like with a guy like L'Jarius, and coaches understand guys' body types and stuff like that too. I'm not overly worried by it. It's just that you recognize certain guys only got so many in the clip. Or so many reps available to you. So why wear them down when it comes down to them being in a position of having to tackle, reps, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, not tackling anyway.
Especially not him, you know? This is development for the guys behind him. If I was playing behind L'Jarius Sneed right now, I'm fighting the person in front of me to get more reps.
Well, and I think it's an opportunity for guys like Jamari Harris.
Come on, man.
The undrafted rookie out of Iowa, who feels like is one of the better positioned undrafted rookies to make this team. Certainly a big opportunity for a number of guys, Jarvis Brownlee and Roger McCreary, obviously. But when do you become worried about Sneed? Like, if he's still on PUP list at a certain time, when does that start to creep in a little bit of anxiety for you?
I'll be honest. The moment I'm going to get worried about L'Jarius Sneed is if he shows up in one of those joint practices and gets hurt. Like, that's the only time I feel like, for me, a guy like him, that I'm going to get worried is if he gets hurt. Because I'm a believer, because I've lived this life at a different position, similar to his, where you go when you have to go.
Right.
He doesn't have as much physicality as I did at my position. But I myself skipped an entire preseason and started week 1 and didn't miss a beat. You know? So that, to me, is when he gets injured is when I'm going to be concerned for him. Because
makes sense.
You got to think, like, when they signed him, they took all the information as pertains to how to manage him.
Yep.
And I think this is just a new problem for the Titans. And Kansas City Chiefs have been dealing with this for a couple of years with his knees. Like, I'll be honest with you, it is bothersome. He's not that old. He's having these type of issues. But until I see an injury or he doesn't start the season off, that's when I'm worried. I think it's a nothing burger right now because he's supposed to be one of the top guys. I heard some of our teammates yesterday speaking about how he was one of the best until he got here last year.
Yeah,
so
right.
I want to see that because it's been a proven thing.
He had not dealt with injuries until last season, and Kansas City managed him really well on the practice field.
Yeah.
Really, he was only missing practice. He wasn't missing games until last year, but I don't think it's a nothing burger because last year still happened.
That's fair. Yes, I'll give you that.
So I think by the time the Titans go to Atlanta, I want to see L'Jarius Sneed.
I kind of want to see that too.
I think by the time you go to the second joint practice, I would love for him to get some kind of work against another team in this training camp to really test out. Like, you may think you're healthy, but then until you really go into a full speed practice, how healthy really are you? And how conditioned are you? Like, how much has the PUP list and the lack of practice taken away from things that you feel like are strengths or you feel like are givens for you and your body and your career? Like, that's where I think I would start to have a little bit of a red flag. To me, it's a yellow flag today. To me, it's something to monitor. It's something to be aware of. L'Jarius Sneed does not need practice as much as the younger guys on this team and the more inexperienced players on this team. I mean, 44 of the 91 players on this roster are either first or second year guys. 44. And you have 24 first-year players, of course, the nine draft picks plus the 15 undrafted rookies. Those guys, if they're starting on PUP and are going to be starters, like guaranteed, that's a little bit of a different conversation. But I don't see anyone who's in that boat either. Because Kevin Winston Jr. And Khalil Mulling, sounds like, from what we know, are not on PUP at the moment. That may change this morning as report day really starts, but and those guys aren't guaranteed to be starters anyway.
And also with L'Jarius, if he's on his PUP and working on side, I do need to hear and see him too. I need to see the leadership.
Good luck with that.
Like the participation, Will, is still very prominent for guys that's on the side. We
may not hear it, but the team needs to.
Absolutely.
We may not see whatever he is contributing leadership-wise because when guys are on PUP or on the side field, we don't see a lot of them or hear a lot from them.
Yeah, but the presence need to be there, though.
Sure.
Like, to your point, by Atlanta, though, I kind of want to see him being worked in.
He's got time, but clearly we'll start on the PUP list to begin training camp today. 615-737-1045 is our number. And, of course, we stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Coming up, the Titans' biggest signing yesterday, and we give you more reaction to the Will Levis news. Did Will Levis quit on the team? How negative are your feelings about the Titans quarterback this morning, about 24 hours removed from his shoulder surgery news yesterday? We'll dive into all that and more with you coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk has shifted on you. Your driveway cracked or sinking too, or your porch steps, maybe they've moved. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. Man, and it's also a big eyesore. Whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time, and it's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the people that I trust, man. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, and our squad will be there tomorrow morning at Tennessee Titans training camp for the first time. Live from Titans training camp. We are looking forward to watching football practice and hearing just the sounds, Ramon, of whistles, of buzzers, of air horns.
Yeah. Running,
do it again.
cleats. You know what I'm saying? The ground pounding, man. I'll never forget. You know that's how psycho coaches are in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. She was just like, man, I'll be honest with you. And we had a good year that year, too. I must say, too. When I heard you guys running down the field, it just sounded like a group of horses just running. I was just like, listen to y'all. Y'all listen to anything and make it poetic as coaches, don't you?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all you hear is just cleats. That was my flip-flops over there.
We've done best sounds in sports already this offseason. That's low-key one of the best ones is cleats against cement or pavement.
Yeah, click-clack.
The first time I bought spikes in 6th grade for track season, I wanted the clack of spikes against cement when I came out to practice.
Yeah.
And so I put on my spikes to go to a regular practice in 6th grade track. And my coach was like, hey, Will, you just wear those to race in. You don't actually wear those to practice. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And the reason was I just wanted the crack because I love that
clack.
sound.
Yeah.
So I went back in my locker, changed them, and then I came back out and I was late for practice. It was
Click clack, Will.
Femi was signed to his rookie contract yesterday. All 9 of the team's draft picks have now officially been signed. The 52 overall pick, 52nd overall pick, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Media, gets a 4-year rookie deal, of course. His contract is worth $8.4 million with its first 3 years fully guaranteed. He also received a signing bonus of $2.76 million. Ramon, maybe the biggest question mark left before camp is gone.
Yeah, it is.
He is ready to go.
It's good for him to get that behind, man. One thing you don't want to do during football seasons is handling business or having business get in the way of the actual sport. Because what's unique, I think, about athletes is at the end of the day, you want to do the thing that you love. And here's a guy, man, that has a big opportunity. We spoke about this yesterday to really cement himself in this first training camp of his of what is he going to be as a football player, as a pro? This is the ultimate chasing my dreams moment for guys like him. And to get the business out the way and get the signing bonus that I'm sure he's going to have to pay for some veteran items for, it's super cool. But I got to say this, too. Just looking at the way these contracts have been structured, I will say I do like this side of it when you talk about guys getting 4-year contracts and the first 3 of it being guaranteed or however some players have gotten guaranteed deals.
Sure.
That is a unique era for football, and I'm waiting to see, let's say for a guy like Femi, the next time around, or Tyler Shuck, what does that deal look like for those guys? If, Will, here's the other part, they make it to perform to get another contract because there is no giving on any of these dudes. How many second, third rounders we've seen, quite honestly, fizzle out? And we're talking about Nicholas Petit-Frere.
Yeah.
Like, that should be – never mind. Never mind.
He can't hurt you anymore.
I know, but
he's gone. The bad man's gone.
You know why I'm so passionate about, like, draft picks living up to it? Because you were selected. You checked the criteria that said – as it pertains to a player of your style, there was somebody like you in front of you.
That's right.
And we expect you to be that good. So when it comes down to, like, expectation, that's why it irks me so much when guys squander it away. Like, that's why I think a lot of Nashville and Tennessee Titans fans still live the Isaiah Wilson side of things. We're talking about a top 20 pick.
Well, and I think, too, there is this idea for maybe some players that you arrive when you're drafted. The process begins when you're drafted.
Yeah.
Just getting drafted and getting that check does not mean that the work is done. It means it's beginning.
Facts. You're preaching, and that's the other part of it, too, is that's just, to your point, Will, that's just the start of it, man.
Yeah,
there's so much that goes into it, like the mental grind of can you do this each and every day? Like I said, knowing that, like, I'm looking at a guy like Jalen Hurl, specifically him. In year 2, when there's a guy drafted at your position, Jalen Hurl, do you keep Femi Oladejo away from reps that you have earned from last year and the work that you put in? Like, and that is a hard place to be at because here's the other side of it. There's a coach in the room that probably absolutely love Femi Oladejo. And they're probably looking at a guy like Jalen Hurl like, all right, can you do that thing that you did again last year? Can you keep him away? Or can we make y'all, teammates, a duo for years to come, because that's the part of the draft that coaches and GMs and head coaches love is, man, those guys develop together. Now look what we got as a group. That is phenomenal, man.
If you're watching on 104.5 The Zone TV, we invite you to hit the subscribe button. A lot of content you won't be able to get anywhere else from training camp this week, just on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live or Twitch or Twitter this morning, we thank you for joining us. But we invite you to head over to our YouTube channel, because there will be a lot of stuff there that will be exclusive to the 104.5 The Zone community. And there are over 15,000 of you who have already subscribed. So if you hit that subscribe button for us, it will help us out tremendously. And you won't miss any of training camp this week and this upcoming month as well. Ramon, now that you've had 24 hours to kind of sit on the Will Levis news and to digest him electing to get shoulder surgery on July 21st. Where are you at with this? Do you have any more feelings about Will Levis making the business decision that he did? Do you feel like he quit on the team?
Do I feel like he quit on the team? No, I do not. I think he tricked them, not quit. And I think there was a plan behind him that was in place that was business with him and his camp, his agency, CAA, if I'm stating that correctly, and the Titans of possibly wanting to get Will Levis out. I think he operated in good faith this entire OTA and minicamp with the idea that if I do everything that you guys asked me to do, then you guys will potentially put me on the market somewhere or cut me so I can go somewhere else. We saw him, Will, in training camp. Heck, the day that at least that I was at, he dropped a bomb down the middle of the field that
improvements were being made.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There were no signs, in my personal opinion, that warranted him to need surgery. And that's why I think it's super unique in his approach to it. I think some of his teammates will probably look at him like, good, get his bleeping behind out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think others, whenever they calm down, that's kind of where I was a little bit yesterday, because I did feel like he kind of left them out to dry a little bit with the idea that there's vacancy and competition and potentially him coming into games if needed. But I'll be quite honest with you, my player side, and you know how I am with that side, say he got over on him. I will say that. I don't say he left them out to dry. I won't even call him a bad teammate, because in this NFL league, I've seen dudes. Okay, what's worse, I guess? I've known guys to be career backups that do the absolute bare minimum and collect the check and never really give 100% at any point in their life, and they just trick the team and stay on the active roster and go in games and give up bad sacks and stuff like that. Or is it better for Will Levis and his camp to say, you know what? I got you guys. You didn't give me what I want, so let me bow out and leave. And he chose a validated, I put air quotation marks around that, a validated surgery option on his shoulder. I'd much rather have him out of the room, remove the headache and the distraction, than for him to be in there and looking sideways or with the mopey
pouting
face
in the back of the room.
Exactly. But I will say this, in my personal opinion, he one-upped him. He most definitely one-upped the Titans.
I think the timing is selfish. I do. I think that my biggest issue with this is the timing of it. Yeah. I mean, that is the issue. It does kind of feel like he quit a little bit.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I respect your opinion on that one. And it can be viewed as
and
that.
It doesn't it doesn't totally bother me, because at the same time, I still think Brandon Allen was the backup quarterback.
You've said that almost all
I've said it all offseason. That Brandon Allen is more the skill set of a game management, low risk, just get out there, understand the system, and get the ball from point A to point B backup. Understood. Will Levis has a higher ceiling. There's no doubt about that. And I think Will Levis could have recuperated some trade value this training camp that I think this could have been a Malik Willis situation. I really do. I think Levis was not confident enough in his health to bet on himself to earn a trade this training camp. So that's where I think, there is elements of, he kind of quit based on the timing of the way this worked. But at the same time, I don't know if I really blame him, because the worst thing for him to do would be to go out and have a bad training camp, have a bad preseason, if he really felt like his shoulder was injured, and lessen his trade value to where he's stuck. Yeah. That's the thing. I think the Titans played this right to say, hey, we're not going to trade you yet because we're evaluating everything that we have at quarterback, and we don't want to just hand Cam Ward QB1 on day one of training camp. Like, I think this is where maybe the Titans learned a little bit from last year. Will Levis was handed everything before last year's training camp.
Right.
Will Levis was seen as the guy. And while Cam Ward is 100% seen as the guy once the season starts, heck, we talked about this with Brent Hubbs. Like, sometimes coaches just want you to have to go out and earn it on the practice field a little bit. And that extra edge that you have on the practice field, it doesn't mean there's necessarily a quarterback battle going on, but for the beginning of camp, it means you got somebody pushing you. And that's not a bad thing. That's healthy. That's good. Cam Ward clearly thrives on that. So that is where I think Levis was going to give value. And then at the end of the day, if he crushes it in preseason, it gets easier to evaluate some of your backups. Like, it's easier for you to know what you have at wide receiver when Xavier Restrepo is out there being thrown passes from a former starting quarterback in this league in Will Levis. It makes it easier for you to differentiate Bryce Oliver versus Van Jefferson and Xavier Restrepo and James Prochet, and all these backup receivers have a legit starting quarterback throwing the football to them. I know he lost his job. He was still a starting quarterback in this league. So that is where I think the Titans will miss him a bit. But I get it from both sides. Yeah. I hate to play both sides of this. But, yeah, he kind of quit on the team. But also, I really don't blame him because his stock, there's really only one way it could have gotten lower. And as if it would have been if he had gone out and tried to play hurt and stunk.
It's a two-sided situation with Levis, though, too. To your point. As it pertains to him competing, the issue that he runs into, and I feel like Callahan were lying, and I ain't gonna say lying about their ability to have an open competition still. Legitimately, well, this is no open competition. Most coaches are going to look at this and say, this is Cam Ward's team, and it's foolish not to give Cam Ward the lion's share of the reps. You know what that means for a guy like Will Levis? If he was the backup in a situation like this, he's going to be running with the two offensive line where the protection probably isn't the greatest, wide receivers that aren't at the ilk of the guys who are starters also. So to your point about him hurting himself, he made a business decision. He, and again, in my opinion, preserved his career and left the mystique of, man, there's a lot left in the tank for a guy like Will Levis if he doesn't play. If he goes out there and bombs it, like you just said, it goes down, and there's no place for him to go. Him controlling his narrative, I think, was the biggest thing for him on the back, I think, from the advice of his agency at this point.
What he will only ever know in his heart of hearts when this started to bother him. And so it's unfair for me, or I think for anyone, to definitively say, he quit on the team and all this stuff, and he's a quitter, and get him out of here. Like, it kind of feels that way based on the timing, based on the context clues that I'm reading, but I can't say with definitive certainty that he just made this decision today. Right. For all we know, he could have been considering this back in the early summer. TK writes on YouTube, says, Buck and Easton, et cetera, have all said the Titans weren't trading Levis. They even reported they didn't even chop him. Yes, that is true. 100%. And I'm agreeing with that. However, you can't tell me that if he doesn't go ball out in training camp and in preseason games and throw for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns and a half against the Minnesota Vikings, that somebody wouldn't have called with a 5th-round pick for him. Yeah. And that you probably would have accepted it. So you don't always have to be shopping a player in order for someone to be calling you once that player impresses in joint practices in preseason. That's where I think the Titans were going to be within this. Like, hey, we'd like to have you. We'd like to have another quarterback in the room, and we'd like for you to develop to get us some kind of draft capital back, but we're not in any rush to get rid of you. That is what I have said all offseason is what this team was probably going to do.
Was there any avenue that it would be Cam Ward, Brandon Allen, and Will Levis, your 3 quarterbacks on roster, like Tim Boyle doesn't make it, in your opinion? Because that's why, to me, the idea of him being traded in training camp was, I think, top of the board if he played his way up. But his idea of actually being able to compete this fall for a starting spot, I think that conversation, possibly his camp asking for a trade all offseason long before we got to this point, wasn't given to him because he probably wanted to get into a training camp and get the playbook down and have a real shot of actually starting some games. Like, I guess it's this. Not many people get the opportunity that Malik did the second time around by going to Green Bay and immediately getting an opportunity to start. And think about the offense they had Malik running when Green Bay came down here, and he had a really good game.
They built an offense for him.
They built an offense for him. That doesn't happen a whole lot in NFL teams for the backup quarterback. His ability to be traded, I think in his mind, the way last year went, to your point just a second ago, he wanted a real opportunity to compete potentially somewhere like New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was an opportunity for a guy like Will Levis to get in camp with Tyler Shough being the guy with their quarterback situation, Derek Carr retired. I would almost guess that the Derek Carr retirement probably spiked up his interest to be moved. And the Titans probably said, no, we're good. Yeah. And they have that right because they own his contract.
Sally on YouTube says, I salute Levis for making a personal business decision. I just would have preferred him to make it in May. I would have preferred him to make it in June. And maybe this is something that just started bothering him a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. But the timing of it does not do Levis any favors in this city and with the organization.
It's a gotcha. 100%.
Yeah.
It is. Like I said, my instant reaction was, man, that kind of sucks. But when you view it, the way teams will cut guys last minute or whatever the case may be, CAA is a very, and I heard Buck speak about this a little bit, very powerful agency. I think they operate like, what you going to do? Like, we told him to go get a second opinion. Like, the doctor he went to yesterday, I've never heard of him, but I ain't ever had a whole lot of surgeries either, or no doctors by the directory like that either. But I would almost think, man, that they knew the specific doctor to go to get this okay to go get surgery. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in a sense. I just know how the business works. They can find a doctor for almost anything.
615-737-1045. JB on YouTube says, move on. Let's go Cam and Titans. Honestly, we will move on. I mean, this is pretty much it. After this conversation, Will Levis is not a part of the 2025 Titans, and he's made a decision for himself. And quite honestly, that's everybody's own decision to make, and that's fine. And you can feel about it however you want as a fan, but ultimately, we move forward. Cam Ward is the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. They'll be on the practice field tomorrow, and the Will Levis era, as we know it in Tennessee, is over.
There's another question from Jesse that comes in real quick on YouTube. It says, do the Titans release him, or are they forced to keep him? They're forced to keep him now.
Yeah, he'll be kept around.
He's on IR.
Which is another reason why players make decisions like this. And another reason why Levis has done this.
Yeah.
Because he's going to stick around now.
Yes, and next spring is probably as high as his value is going to be, too, as far as moving him to where the Titans be able to get another draft pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people are going to need to see him play, I feel like, before they can. Like, if I'm another team, I'm just waiting for Levis to get cut next spring and offseason.
I thought that until legitimately I saw Kenny Pickett get traded.
I know, but Kenny Pickett's playing football. Will Levis
at the time
had
he got
shoulder
benched
surgery
in Pittsburgh and had probably one of the worst.
Benched, but then showed up to work and didn't take himself out of the season in July. Like, I think this is going to hurt Levis's ability to move.
I know where you're coming from with that, but there's a lot of optics out there that Kenny Pickett had in Pittsburgh that just wasn't a great team.
Believe me, I know.
And the other side of it is this. There are other GMs that probably still love the idea of Will Levis. Heck, we're talking about Andre Dillard got signed.
Right, and
it's that side of scouting.
He got signed. That's the point.
But that's the other side of it, too. He's a quarterback where the market is just high as can be when it comes down to it. There's a GM out there that still loves Will Levis.
I don't know about loves. I think there is a GM that would be open to adding Will Levis out there 100%. I think there are multiple. But why would I trade for him when I could just wait for him to get cut next spring and summer?
The Titans can do the exact same thing again next year.
I think it hurts his chance to get traded. But I also don't think it hurts his chance to just go somewhere else. It feels like to me, Will Levis's goal is to be the quarterback or a quarterback on another team in 2026. That is Will Levis's goal.
Yeah.
Once he realized that was probably not going to happen in 2025, he wanted to be a quarterback on another team in 26.
I think the Saints situation amplified it for him. They got two rookies down there. Well, a rookie about to start.
615-737-1045 is our number. And streaming live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Conference realignment news in the state of Tennessee yesterday. Why one team was denied a payment entry into a new conference. We'll dive into what it means for college sports coming up next.
At Genesis Diamonds is not just in the name. Diamonds are in their DNA. They dream about diamonds. They obsess about diamonds. Diamonds are their life, is their life. They go to the ends of the earth to get the best diamonds also. They look at 100 cutters and pick just a few of them to bring back to the showroom. They make sure that every diamond has a certain sparkle and brilliance. They have every diamond graded by the world's most prestigious gem labs. They look way beyond the 4 C's too. The guarantee is not just acceptable. It's extraordinary. The experts at Genesis Diamond are passionate about diamonds, and they will show you all the inside tips and tricks to help you maximize your value. You're not going to get this level of quality or expertise at any other source. Certainly not one of those big corporate chains. Genesis is your source for hand-picked GIA certified diamonds at the guaranteed best price. They'll have ovals, rounds, princess cuts, emerald cuts, heart shapes, pear shapes, cushion cuts from a half a carat to 20 carats if you want to, and properly showcase these exquisite diamonds. Genesis has the designer settings that other stores can't get. All the big name bridal designers have handpicked Genesis as their trusted partner. It's a no-brainer. Genesis is the source here for a ring you can be proud of, whether you're getting married soon or have been together for decades. Genesis Diamonds with no compromises. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, Whitehouse, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster, there was a big development in conference realignment yesterday because of something that didn't happen. So Memphis tried to buy their way into the Big 12, offering an excess of $200 million, of which the conference said, nah, we're good, according to Brandon Marcello and Matt Norlander of CBS Sports. So Bill Hardgrave has spent more than a year meeting individually with Big 12 presidents and ADs, laying the groundwork for an unprecedented financial commitment to leave the now called American Conference, the artist formerly known as the American Athletic Conference, for a Power 4 league. So the school would have secured, Ramon, between $200 million and $250 million in various sponsorship commitments as a part of its bid to join the league. When it first submitted the proposal in early July, internal discussions were brief. The Big 12 board showed no interest, reportedly, in adding Memphis to the conference at this time. To me, Ramon, it sets a precedent, and it sets a standard that you can buy your way, or at least try, with sponsorships to buy your way into a conference. What did you make of this yesterday?
And it's shocking for Memphis, to be quite honest with you, because that team has won a lot. That team has a high standard of being very competitive, too. To me, Memphis program is potentially ahead of Colorado's. Colorado has more notoriety. And recently, think about recently, the success that Memphis had absolutely dogs out what Colorado has done. Even last year, with Shedeur Sanders been on that team and the Heisman winner Travis Hunter been on that team. Memphis wins and losses has been elite compared to what Colorado's done in this 21st century. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Colorado got into the Big 12 and Memphis didn't.
I would say facilities-wise maybe is where Colorado has more.
100%.
But to be fair, yeah, you're right. Over the last 15 years of playing football, Memphis has been a healthier football program than Colorado has. I'm willing to hear that
100% on that one. So it begs the question, what is the Big 12 Council looking at when they denied Memphis this? We're talking about $200 to $250 million just to come party with y'all. Well, I'm sorry, but if somebody gives me $250 or $2,500 walking my party, you coming in here. As long as you ain't got no hand grenades or nothing like that, you coming to party with us. Whatever you do after that, that's on you, okay? So I wonder, is it legitimately the economics of what Memphis is? Do they have the logistics of having teams like BYU come in, Baylor come in? As far as the standards, to your point of it being, Will, the facilities that Memphis has, the competition of it is there. It for somebody that was raised in Tennessee in the early 2000s, Memphis, I think, had a bigger population, also more buzz than what Nashville had. And I feel like
they had that, yeah.
If Memphis had kept up with what Nashville was doing because of whatever their government is in Memphis, the way they're governed in Memphis, this will be an easy yes for them. I don't think logistically there's an issue. I honestly look and say, and I'm a West Tennessee guy that loves Memphis too. I will state that before I say this. I wonder if this is a wake-up call for the people who are in charge that have to make these type of decisions. That was a big money maker potentially of this team moving to the Big 12 with the teams that come into Memphis and visit.
Right.
You got to get your stuff together. And they're renovating the Liberty Bowl and everything right now. They're attempting to. And maybe it was a not right now for Memphis as opposed to flat out no.
I mean, it from all reports, it was a flat-out no.
Oh, that's ugly.
Because this is the second time they've tried to do this. And the Pac-12 wants them, but Memphis wants to go to a Power 4 conference. The Pac-12 is not a power conference.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So they have no interest in spending all that money to fly their volleyball team out to play, Boise State and all the state schools that are relegated to the Pac-12. Because the Pac-12 is not a power conference.
No.
That's not a step up for them. The American is better for Memphis than the Pac-12 is. They've got the Pac-12 at home. It's the artist formerly known as Conference USA that's now essentially just the American Conference. The interesting part of this, too, Ramon, is that Memphis was going to forego conference revenue distributions for at least 5 years. I mean, not only were they going to pay their way in, they were going to say, hey, we don't need that TV check. We'll get sponsorships for 5 years. And then if after 5 years you guys still don't want us, you can kick us out.
They were begging.
And the Big 12 wasn't even willing to do that. So SMU did this to the ACC. They forgoed league revenue for 9 years, not involving sponsorships. Well, like Memphis, there's some heavy hitters at SMU that can foot that bill and say, hey, we'll just pay you what you would get for your TV distribution. So Memphis passed to the Pac-12 opportunity last year while Gonzaga is set to join the Pac-12. In terms of basketball, which unfortunately, sorry, Slay, basketball does not dictate the decisions made by these schools. And if you were just deciding based on basketball, then yeah, the Memphis probably would already be in the Pac-12 because of some of the basketball teams that are in that conference. But the Big 12 recently partnered with PayPal in a deal worth $100 million over 5 years to serve as the official platform for distributing revenue-sharing payments to athletes. So each Big 12 school will receive more than $1 million from this deal with PayPal to support athlete payments and campus initiatives. But according to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo, Memphis's proposal, adding their own sponsor commitments, would have given each school $2 million. The Big 12 still said no. To me, this is pretty odd from the Big 12. Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense for Memphis to try to do this. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Big 12, to be honest with you. I know I joke on Memphis, and there's the Nashville versus Memphis rivalry. Yeah. In a world where college programs and universities are desperate for any way to make an extra buck because they've got to pay more money to schools. They've got to pay more money to their athletes. It's weird that the Big 12 would just flatly turn down an opportunity to make more money, even just $1 million more per school.
It blows my mind. And we have a commenter just speaking about, recent death of Fred Smith, owner of FedEx. And it was like, FedEx might leave Memphis. I think FedEx was a part of this payoff as far as them getting this money.
FedEx, AutoZone, and Lowe's were the three.
No, they were going to secure that. And of course, I'm sure the way FedEx is set up in Memphis on that side of it, they probably get so many breaks. But what I'm getting at is this. They have the means to do it. Memphis has been doing that for a very long time, specifically with the Tigers. I wonder, honestly, Will, was it the economics of how Memphis is set up and structured and the reputation, to be quite honest with you? More than it was the sports side of things.
Yeah, is it the city hurting the reputation of the university?
I'm only asking a question. I'm not saying that. I think you are too in this one, because I don't want to project that being the reason why. But it does bring a lot of that conversation up for social media is what I would say. That's disheartening because Memphis deserves to be in that conference, in my opinion.
The proposal was set up as a no-risk concept, and according to sources who talked to Ross Dellinger, it sets a standard of expansion fees to enter a league. The school would have taken zero distribution for the final 5 years of the league's new television deal with ESPN and Fox. Add the sponsorships in excess of $150 million over 5 years, and subject itself to expulsion in 2031 if the Big 12 deemed it was not adding value. Maybe they just don't want to set the precedent that you can buy your way into the conference.
It's that too.
It's the only thing I can make sense of, because I think from a television market perspective, from a fan base that gives a crap perspective, and from a football program that's pretty healthy, I think it would have been a logical next step for the Big 12.
And an outside of Memphis conversation in one of my group chats, this is just sports friends that I have. When we put this article in the group chat, you know what the one friend that's unattached to Memphis said? Man, nobody want to go to Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the city hurting the value of the university.
And every city got issues.
Yeah, for sure. They just got more than most. I mean, honestly, we can be honest about it.
I know, it's tough.
And I'll be called a hater for it. I don't care.
But
there are a lot of great people who I love, and there are great areas in Memphis. But the public perception is what it is, whether that is right or not. I'm not saying whether that's right or not. The public perception is what it is, that it's not a city you want to visit and go to. And I think that's a shame for the university and football program that has done some really good things over the last 10, 15 years.
Yep.
615-737-1045. More of your phone calls, more of the Titans headlines as we head into training camp. Report day today. We will get you ready for it coming up. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you looking to freshen up your home's look? Checking some items off that to-do list this summer. Maybe you're just looking to freshen up for hosting friends and family. You got that one last big cookout. You're grilling out. Everybody's coming over right before school starts up again. Well, I want to tell you, the Lee Company handyman professionals, they have got you covered. Whether it is pressure washing your driveway or deck, to drywall repairs, landscape lighting, painting, and more, Lee Company is all you need. You got to visit Lee Company online, leecompany.com, to schedule your appointment today. That's leecompany.com. 615-567-1000. Lee Company is such a great partner because you just hand them your to-do list and they get it done for you. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or just the to-do list of things you want freshened up around the house. Lee Company will take care of it. 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
It is 7:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans training camp is back. It is report day as the Titans report to camp today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and practice will start up tomorrow. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Borgonzi will both speak to the media today at 12 p.m., and you can, of course, hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Yesterday, the Titans and second-round rookie Femi Oladejo agreed to terms on a 4-year, $8.4 million contract with the first 3 years fully guaranteed and a signing bonus of $2.76 million. The Titans now have all of their 2025 draft class signed and ready to go for training camp. In other NFL news, the Green Bay Packers and right tackle Zach Tom agreed to a 4-year, $88 million contract extension yesterday that has a max value of $92 million. The deal includes $30.2 million at signing, which is the largest signing bonus in the history of the NFL for an offensive lineman. And per multiple reports this morning, Cincinnati Bengals star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson officially will not report to training camp today, as he posted on Instagram that he has returned to his home in Florida. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, hour number 2, getting you started on this Tuesday morning. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Sam Monson at hour 4 talks Titans with us, one of our good friends of Check the Mic and the 33rd Team. Of course, on Tuesdays at 8:20, Austin Price stops by as well. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, when I say report day and first day of training camp, what kind of emotions, what kind of feelings pop into your brain?
Go to a padded room and stay locked in.
Padded room is crazy.
I'm so serious, man. I joke about those types of things. Like I said, you get into a mode mentally, man, about like, this is going to be tough. This is one of the hardest things you got to do. And in the back of your mind and all of that excitement that you have to go do the job, there's an opportunity. You get hurt, you get cut, and never play football ever again. So that's why I say, like, you go to a padded room in your mind on how you need to lock into what's the task at hand is, man. And if you're smart, you got really good friends back home. You got a great spouse and family that support you in those moments right there. But to be quite honest with you, nobody understands that pathway but yourself in it. Like, you are the master of your fate in those moments right there. And the things that you do will determine if you make the team, if you don't. I'm talking about the undrafted guys all the way to the first round guys. Like, there's a lot of pressure on Cam, you know what I'm saying, to perform. Like, as far as expectation, like we talked about pressure yesterday with it being Dan Moore potentially having the most pressure on this team to perform with what's, chasing him with the 12 sacks and the bag and everything else. Well, like, everybody's in that position. Like, I look at even Jeffrey Simmons' situation or Amani Hooker. Like, what does Amani have to do to get himself more notoriety? So, Will, to your point, it really is walking into a padded room by yourself and fighting off those deniers of yourself and the battle of one-on-ones and literally and figuratively every single day.
The positive of yesterday's news and the bright side of Will Levis and the injury and the surgery and not being a part of training camp is, Ramon, that it really does feel like a new era begins today.
This year.
It feels like the Cam Ward era, the Cam Ward moment of Titans football. There is nothing from the past that is hanging over what really begins this week, which is the first number 1 overall pick that this organization has had since Earl Campbell. It is a totally new roster of 44 players, either in their first or second seasons of the NFL. I think fans will start to see what Tennessee Titans players look like change a little bit. I think fans out there tomorrow at practice are going to notice that this team is in pretty dang good shape, albeit if they look like they did against each other in minicamp and in organized team activities and OTAs. I think you're going to see a leaner, more toned Titans team, for lack of a better term, when you look at guys like Femi Oladejo, who signs his rookie contract yesterday, Cody Barton at the inside linebacker position, and even still the guys that are back in Jeffrey Simmons and J.C. Latham. I think you're going to start to see the Titans become leaner and faster and quicker. And I think that is going to be for the best for this team moving forward, entering the Cam Ward era of him being such a dynamic athlete that is going to unlock a part of this offense that we've not seen here, really, albeit aside from a couple of years of Ryan Tannehill in the explosive passing game, like that we've just not seen here since, a couple decades.
It is.
Like an exciting brand of Titans football begins today. And I don't know if that means wins and losses. I don't know what that means for wins and losses in 2025. I don't know what that means for the health of the depth of this team, which is still a concern at different parts of the roster. But I do think it is going to be exciting to follow because you got your guy.
Yeah.
You got Cam. And that's the first step in a lot of steps in this process of getting this organization back to where it is healthy on the field again.
And you stealing some of my Foster 5 thunder. What we're about to do here in a minute, man.
Yeah, top 5 most interesting storylines at camp coming up from Ramon in about 15 minutes.
But the way you laid that out, though, is there's a lot of finger pointing, I guess, eyes on Coach Brian Callahan, too, and how he's going to piece this thing together. I feel like this offseason, he was a little bit he was polarizing in a sense, a little bit, or he was hot and cold with a lot of people. We spoke, lightly about him, a hot seat candidate, or is it just, he's got hot feet underneath him? Has the stove been cranked up, or is it burning low? It's those things. What does this new leadership look like with Borgonzi being in the fold right now? As you stated earlier, like the removal of things of the past is gone. You have no more MPF. You got Dan Moore, right? You got guys that you feel like are solid starters when it come down to Zeitler. I expect a huge jump from Peter Skoronski this year. Even if, you look at Lloyd Cushenberry, who's not in the fold this year, what does that look like? And to be quite honest with you, Will, what you're asking or what you're talking about is, can this new regime be trusted to look the way we think it's going to look? And that goes a long way, man, when it comes down to fans. When you drive by that new Nissan Stadium every single day, the idea that it's okay to believe that it's going to be good by the time you get to 2027. And to be quite honest with you, with the number 1 overall pick this year, to your point, to reiterate what you just said, it feels like it starts in 2025 with how you curate Cam, how he grows up. To be quite honest with you, Will, is he exactly what everybody else said he's going to be as a Tennessee Titan? Because the history that I think a lot of people have, that BTS, that battered Titan syndrome.
100%.
They come here sometimes, and then it fizzles. Like, we're looking in 1 year, albeit his injuries and stuff like that, but L'Jarius Sneed's situation. Mm-hmm. You look at what was projected of NPF, that fizzles out.
I mean, Julio Jones, Vic Beasley.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of that, and I get where a lot of those, folks that we have call in, like Mike calls in and say, I don't know yet. Like, that hesitancy that people have, like, will that change this year under the direction of Coach Brian Callahan?
I think that's the important question is, it's one thing to have patience and to understand that Cam Ward deserves time and Brian Callahan deserves time to help mold Cam Ward into a legitimate starting quarterback. But how quickly can we have something to cling to?
Yeah.
Like, is the 21 to 22 day at training or at minicamp a sign of things to come in the immediate future or in the distant future?
Yeah.
Are we waiting for competitiveness for new Nissan Stadium, or is this something that we can see as we close old Nissan Stadium over the next 2 years?
Because I'll be honest with you, I think it's only so far the lip service or words of headlines say, well, it's all for 2027. Like, I'm with you, like, dang it, I kind of want to see something right now, too.
Well, because every bit of reasonable thought that we have, like every bit of patience that we tell ourselves coming into camp, every voice in our head telling us, just wait, it's going to take time, it's going to be a process.
I know.
There's another voice that's just whispering of like, but what about the Washington Commanders?
Yeah.
What about Jaden Daniels? Like, and you can't, that's totally unfair to put Jaden Daniels like expectations on Cam Ward. It's, I refuse to do that. But I'd be lying if I wasn't hoping, in the back of my mind that maybe, just maybe, we could have a season in 2025 like they did in 2024. I don't expect that. I don't think it's realistic to expect it. But you hope for it. It's like, well, maybe if everything goes our way, if the ball continues to bounce our way, and that's okay. That's what training camp is for. That's what July is for, to have a little bit of hope. 32 NFL cities this morning are waking up with fresh optimism and hope, and that doesn't make you immature. It doesn't make you stupid for feeling happy that your football team is 0-0 and there is a world of possibilities at your fingertips. Embrace it. Life is meant to be happy. Life is meant to be joyful. You can either choose to be a cynic about it, or you can choose optimism about it. I'm choosing optimism this morning, Ramon Foster.
And I'm honestly kind of conflicted in just that world you just said right there, being cynic or being very optimistic. And naturally, I'm an optimistic person. But to the point that I just said a second ago, like I feel like this fan base wants to see something. But if it does go bad, like, are you in the season of losing for better next year in 27? Meaning, like, how competitive are you trying to be if one of your main guys go down? Because there is an element of rebuilding through the draft and picking high.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very advantageous to teams. It is a balance that Borgonzi and Chad Brinker have to figure out, and not just them, also the direction of Miss Amy Adams-Strunk, Burke Nihill, and, of course, your head coach. It's like there's a lot that goes into the next 5 years, to be quite honest with you. Before, and I think it needs to be a 4 or 5 year plan.
Yeah.
Cam, if he lives up to it, are you willing to pay by that time? Are we seeing threes as far as $300 million and stuff like that?
Yeah, we'll see. I'd love to have that conversation years down the road.
Well, that's a great conversation.
The goal of the 2025 Tennessee Titans is to be fun. It is. The goal is obviously to win as many games as you can, but the ultimate goal of this team is to be fun on offense and feel like you've got something at the quarterback position. That is what you are trying to set up going into the final year of old Nissan Stadium and the first year of new Nissan Stadium. An explosive passing game, a team that people who aren't Titans fans want to watch because they want to tune into Cam Ward to see what he's going to do, and a defense that plays aggressively in Denard Wilson's style to make some big plays at the expense of maybe giving up some big ones too. That's fine. Because I think that's defense in the NFL in 2025 anyway. Can we make some explosive plays and intercept some passes and take them back to the house? Or can we force some fumbles because we're sending so many guys and blitzing so much at the quarterback? We're fine if we give up a couple big ones, but can we be fun to watch to where going into 2026, we feel like we have the capital and the second roster acquisition cycle to really add on supplemental pieces and foundational pieces and be competitive moving forward for the future of the Tennessee Titans?
Preaching.
Be fun in 2025.
Be boring and bad.
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get to Roy on the phone lines when we come back. Plus a fresh Foster 5 this morning. The top 5 most interesting Tennessee Titans training camp storylines. So Ramon Foster next.
If you've been struggling to choose where to go to for TRT, look no further than Synergex and Low T Center. Yes, there's plenty of locations around the city, man, but the Low Synergex Health app is a superior innovation in healthcare technology that you won't find anywhere else. With this app, you can, it's so easy, y'all. Book your appointments, view your lab results so you don't have to go back up to the building, man. You can view them right there on your phone on the app. You can have face-to-face telehealth visits. You can receive medication reminders. You can also order your supplements, pre-check into visits, and more. You can take control of your health, and it's never been easier, man. But here's the thing. Synergex and Low T Center have been changing patient lives for a combined 25 years. Not only have they dominated the history of men's health, but together they are pioneering the future of Synergex Health app that utilizes technology to deliver patient care beyond any other men's health services. Yes, fellas, I'm talking to you. Y'all know I'm a huge advocate for going to get checked out, man. Check your vitals before it's too late on something that you can fix earlier in your younger years and not have to deal with it later on. And all you got to do is book an appointment or walk into any Synergex or Low T Center before 10 a.m. The test is simple and only takes about 20 minutes to get your lab results back. Once you qualify, you can start treatment the exact same day. There's never been a better time to start TRT with Synergex and Low T, and they're offering a test for free right now. Other places are charging you hundreds of dollars just to get started, but for a limited time, the test is free. Again, download the Synergex Health app or book an appointment today by visiting fixmylowt.com. Again, it is fixmylowt.com. Hey, it's Ramon Foster here, and I was done with mosquitoes ruining my backyard fun, and I have found a solution. Let me tell you about Mosquito Max from All American Pest Control. Yes, you've heard me speak about them before, but All American Pest Mosquito Max is your one-stop proven solution for both mosquitoes and year-round pest prevention. Save money and say goodbye to the itchy bites. Y'all know how it is. You're scratching your arms and legs and trying to figure out where did they come from. Well, All Americans Mosquito Max include a monthly mosquito mist, spider web removal, and perimeter pest control around your home. So make the change and finally enjoy your backyard. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your summer. Go to yuckbugs.com. That is yuckbugs.com, and make the switch to All American Pest Control today. And be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Another Foster 5 upcoming this morning. On Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned Scooters Coffee in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045. Austin Price coming up in an hour. Talk some balls with us. And Sam Monson of the 33rd team with an NFL-wide conversation. Coming up at 9:20. 615-737-1045. Ramon's going to rank for us the top 5 most interesting storylines of Tennessee Titans training camp. We'll do that in just a moment. But first, we go to the phones where Roy has been waiting to chime in on the Cam Ward, Will Levis stuff this morning. What's up, Roy?
Morning, Roy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Well, officially, and when I heard this news yesterday, I was thinking, well, the narrative now from Coach Brian Callahan should be there is no open competition for the starting quarterback. It's Cam Ward, obviously. We back in April when we drafted him first round, first pick, he was probably the most untalked about first round, first pick ever in NFL history. That narrative now needs to go away. As far as Will Levis goes, I don't blame the guy. I don't think it was selfish what he did. He knew his days was numbered as soon as that first round, first pick got called in April. I mean, everybody likes a comeback story, and I'm hoping it's not here. Hope the best for him, because if it is here next year, that means we have problems. Coach Cal right now, his hot seat is lava. So all I can say is the Cam Ward era officially begin today. He needs to go out and say to the press, there is no open competition for the starting quarterback. If we're having to play Allen or Bull in there, we're going to have a long, long, sad season. Tighten up, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Roy.
That was a good call right
Appreciate
there.
the call. I'm more interested in their actions than their words on that, because I would be pleasantly surprised if Brian Callahan just came out and said Cam Ward is our starting quarterback. But I do think the division of reps, Ramon, are going to tell us that Cam Ward is the starting quarterback. And I think that was told to us in mandatory minicamp.
And I mean, those guys have been around too. Brennan Allen, Tim Boyd, they know this situation.
Of course. Of course.
But it is, I like the fact that they do this. I think Chicago did it. I think Carolina did it when it came down. And our starter week 1 is, they named the number one overall quarterback and stuff. But it is, to your point, Roy, a good place to be at to know that, look, it's done. Like, I do think Callahan is a great guy and really enjoys seeing dudes succeed that he coaches. And Levis was trying to be one of those guys of his. It's a wrap now. Real quick, do you think he ever puts on the two-tone blue again?
Will Levis?
Yeah. I said no, just so you know.
In a practice, in a game, in a preseason game, or just at all?
At all.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he does, because next spring, you're not going to just immediately be able to get rid of him. Like, he's going to have to practice again.
Up until March, free agency, I guess, area.
I think he could be moved by next draft, maybe.
Okay.
But again, like, the Titans didn't want to move him this offseason.
If Cam goes out and, the number everybody, there I am with everybody, a lot of people. The number I've seen being thrown around is like 3,600 plus yards from Cam.
Yeah, I think Vegas has got him around, 3,300, I want to say, is his over-under.
Close to 20. 20 and 12 interception touchdowns or touchdown interceptions. I don't think there's a way. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm talking about like preseason games.
Yeah,
I think that's why I asked, because I think in a regular season game, it's one thing if he suits up. Do I think Will Levis has played his last regular season game as a Tennessee Titan? Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes.
I think he could still practice. I think he could still maybe be around next training camp. But again, that's a problem for next training camp. We're on to 2025.
No doubt.
In the words of Bill Belichick, we're on to Cincinnati.
There it is.
We're on to
Denver.
Training camp report day. The Foster 5 this morning is the 5 most interesting storylines of training camp. Let's start at number 5 today, Ramon.
Number 5. I wrote them down separately, and I was just like, how do I rank these? I'll start with the first one. 5, I guess. What difference a year makes for Coach Callahan? The payoff of it being his offseason.
Yeah.
The 8 teams that he's played this offseason, putting his team into competition. Will we see that on the practice field? Will we see the ability to be very, combative with one another? while also team building, or will there be a division? Like, how much support did that change this year, knowing that, look, we're going to try this. I don't want to call it kumbaya, but this build-up of creating a team environment for them. Will we see them battle, Will, in training camp, specifically against Tampa and Atlanta in those moments right there? I think that is number one, because there was locally at least, a lot of discussion about Callahan's reshaping of this team. I think that is a unique situation just on the surface level. Does this team look different going out there this year?
To me, that is one of the most interesting storylines of the entire season, is what did Brian Callahan learn from 2024?
Oh.
I don't have the answer to that yet. I'm excited to ask him that the day we get to sit down with him at camp, which hopefully is sooner rather than later, Ramon, to be able to say, what have you adjusted? What have you changed? And he's got on the record, and if you watched the Titans of Tennessee series on YouTube, the team put out, it feels like the competitiveness and the competition and the 8 teams that he split up for mandatory minicamp and OTAs is part of something he wants to do that's different. And he quoted Steve Kerr within that conversation on the YouTube channel from the Titans saying, we want to facilitate joy in competition. There is legitimate joy in competition. We want people to be happy to come to work and be joyful when they're on the practice field. And we feel like the way you do that is by inserting some extra competitiveness into practice beyond just getting better and doing your job and trying to freshen things up a little bit. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that facilitates itself. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
Oh, no doubt.
That's number 5.
That's number 5.
Number 4.
Femi Oladejo's ability to make a splash. I think there's a lot of eyes on him. I think I will say this too. There's a vacancy of splash at the edge for this team too. And
no doubt.
Having a rookie be able to jump out on the scene and create chaos and push veterans, even if it means, look, coach, well, we go out there, Will, and we see what our eyes show us. And you see Femi ahead of Arden Key. Like, that's going to make Arden want to work a little bit more, or Draymond Jones for that matter. All right, how quick or how soon in the rotation can Femi Oladejo, who we've seen be a physical specimen, incorporate himself into the defensive schemes? And he probably shouldn't make my list, Will, but I feel
he would make my list. Yeah.
The optimism of what he can provide at that position, as how raw he is. Sometimes being raw like that has you just flying around and making plays that you don't think you should make in those moments. I think that is a huge void on this team, and I'd love to see that be filled in for this Titan squad in 2025.
The Titans, in terms of sacks per pass attempt last season, 6.77% sack rate, ranked 22nd in the NFL. If L'Jarius Sneed's health is still a concern, then either the pass rush has to get better or the corners replacing L'Jarius Sneed have to get better in order to raise that number and for this defense to continue to improve. I think it's a great point. And I think, too, Ramon, my question is for you, how quickly can Femi Oladejo develop new moves as a full-time edge rusher for the first season of his career? This is the first offseason he has ever had as an edge rusher. He was an inside linebacker this time last year. He switched to edge rusher through that first month. The ceiling, the untapped potential for Femi Oladejo is fascinating. It is why the Titans wanted to take a chance on him and sign him versus the other options that they had. So how quickly can that ceiling start to be met, or how much of a long process is this over the course of his entire rookie contract to get on-the-job training and learn how to be an edge rusher? Like, for you, Ramon, how quickly can he learn a changeup to go to with his fastball?
I would say this. He should already have one now. Knowing
like
that
one other move.
One other move right now. And I would think this, too, based upon the way you look at a guy like him. I think the first one need to be able to use his attributes, his long friggin' arms, his ability to get around the edge and use that against guys should be number one. And then the second most important move he needs to have, Will, is running through somebody's face. Like
the
those
power
two
part of it.
Power part
Speed
of it.
and power
Setting
ratio.
the edge, not giving up the edge and run, not for his own point, not being a liability in the run game. I think is going to be huge because as an offensive lineman, seeing a young defensive lineman, edge guy that I probably have intel on, like, ooh, he'll look light and behind right here. I'm trying to move him Coach, you need to come get his sub. Send Arden back in here, please, because there is no way he should be getting moved in dog walk like that. So his ability to be violent, Will, has to be at the top of his list, besides his ability to, like, use his arms to get around guys. Those attributes right there he was born with, and you got to see that. How explosive can he be?
Fans are going to be amazed tomorrow who are going out there just looking at him as a human being on field level.
Mm-hmm.
He looks the part, and you don't get given success in the NFL by looking the part. That just kind of gets you in the door.
Right.
So take that for what it's worth. But he looks the part of a legitimate edge rusher in this league.
It legitimately is. Can he walk on, I guess, if you watch those type of movies, prison movies, if you walk on the yard and punch the biggest guy in the face, or walking into the lunchroom and beating up the bully, can Femi assume that role? And as loud as we heard he was going out in the springtime for OTAs and minicamp, if you loud, you better be productive. And I think this team needs a component of that of it too.
Agreed. I think that's a good one. Number 3 of top Titan storylines for you.
This was a tough one for me because my number 2 on this list is super unique too.
Okay.
But the additions of Cody Barton, Tyler Lockett, and the most mysterious one of them all to me, and I know there's other free agents that were signed too, what is Draymond Jones?
Yeah, maybe a guy we've not talked about as much as we should.
Not enough.
I want to ask Sam Monson about that in hour 4 this morning.
And I know he's not with PFF, but I don't think PFF was super high on the idea that he got, I think it was their outlet or
I think you're right.
else.
I think it was Pro Football Focus.
Questioning, like, how did he get his bag with the year that he had last year in Denver, and will that be a payoff? Because aside from 2024, I will say this, his pass rush was a green light for PFF, but everything else surrounding him, like, are you just a pass rush specialist?
It was the run defense grade. It was not good from Pro Football Focus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we've hardly talked. I feel like we did a disservice to Draymond Jones and that signing too. For a 1-year deal, like, what is that? We're looking at a 30-plus-year-old Tyler Lockett also. Is there somebody else that's going to take reps from you? Or can you be the guy that's very friendly to Cam Ward? Sure. And, of course, Cody Barton in a new contract as a designated starter for a team that had a huge void. What would that look like? Those 3 guys, to me, in free agency, I think have big questions going into training camp on how they produce and their availability, too.
Yeah, Draymond Jones last year in Seattle, 3 sacks, 8 sacks over 2 seasons. Seen as almost the Danico Autry replacement that the Titans did not sign last year.
Yeah.
As a similar body type and similar frame. At 6'3", 281 pounds. Certainly an interesting guy in this defense, no doubt. I think it's someone that we probably haven't covered enough this offseason.
Yep. So I'm really fascinated in him. I really am.
That's number 3. Your second biggest Titans training camp storyline, Ramon, is what?
And Will, there is a log jam here I don't think we've spoken of because of the availability of guys that have gotten healthy.
Okay.
Who emerges as playmakers at wide receiver?
It's a great one.
I am looking at.
I agree with you on
this.
You
look at this list of, like, familiar faces. We're talking about Traylon, who's not on PUP. We're talking about Colton Dowell, who's back. We're talking about Van Jefferson, who's in the fold right now. To be quite honest with you, we're looking at Mason Kinsey, and we're not even talking about the rookies or Calvin yet. Who separates themselves of this group? And here's the other side of it, too. I know a lot of people probably, turn their nose up at that statement, like, those guys are all cut. But what if under a pressurized, in a pressure tank, in a pressure cooker, Traylon rises up? What if Mason Kinsey pushes Restrepo? Like, what is Bryce Oliver?
And James Prochet is someone
James
that I think,
Prochet, like,
not just as a special teamer who made some plays in minicamp.
This is one of those, like, Russian social media posts I've seen where they've got, like, 8 different teams in a ring fighting. Like, who's going to emerge out of this group, man? Like, this is UFC in the in the late 90s. Like, this has to be one of the most hot competition rooms if it was spoken of by, I think, the major network. Who emerges as Cam's guy?
Calvin Ridley looking for a 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season. Tyler Lockett, 8th most among NFL's active wide receivers with 8,594 career receiving yards. So where does he play? How do the Titans deploy Calvin Ridley? Is it Chibere DK or Elikiah Manor who ends up getting the first crack at being a starter? Is Xavier Restrepo on the team? Bryce Oliver as a special team, or is he a lock to make the team? It feels that way, but how much of a role could he play on offense? And we haven't even mentioned Van Jefferson, who, like you said, was signed in a similar profile to what Nick Westbrook-Akine was a season ago. A ton of question marks there. And a passing game, Ramon, that is going to be the primary focus of training camp.
Here's the worst part for those guys. If Cam doesn't have a great year, they're going to say the front office didn't do enough of a job to get them help, or those guys suck. So who's going to step up to the plate? Very fascinating to me. And I don't think they're a cast of has-beens. I think there's a lot of opportunity for these dudes.
Yeah, it feels like there is some real potential there. It feels like the Titans are banking on DK and/or Io Manor really turning into guys at wide receiver. And the profile of DK is someone that is a deep crossing guy that specializes in those deep crossing routes over the middle where Cam Ward makes his money. And Io Manor, who's a power forward on the outside, you can just dump the ball down to in the low block. Like, you literally can just give him back shoulder throws in the red zone and tell him go up and get it.
Exactly.
I'm interested to see him do that against NFL defensive backs for the first time.
And everybody believes in Cam and believe the ball can get there.
Mm-hmm. The number one storyline of Tennessee Titans training camp from Ramon Foster is next. 615-737-1045. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, continues after this. If you need to relocate, find that new home, and you need to do it in a short amount of time, listen up. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my good friend Bernie Gallerani. Bernie Gallerani Realty. Maybe you have found another property you want to purchase and you don't want to pay 2 mortgages. Well, I'm here to tell you that Bernie Gallerani has the 30-day guarantee. That's right. He guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he will buy it. Yeah, there's no risk to you. Bernie is so confident in his ability to help you that he'll let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. And if not, he will buy it from you. You can head online, BernieGallerani.com. Right at the top of the homepage, click on how much is your home really worth. You can enter your address, have that answer in only 30 seconds. Bernie, also so confident, he's going to give you his personal cell phone number, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644, or online at BernieGallerani.com. Give him a call, 615-428-2644. Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up hour 2, excuse me. I got ahead of myself. I'm so excited to go to practice. I'm ready to watch football tomorrow. Here on 104.5 The Zone, live from Titans training camp tomorrow. We'll be there for you.
Yeah.
And when practice is happening, Ramon Foster, you and I can get to do a little play-by-play again.
Let's do it, man.
We're watching.
We getting some reps right now, Will?
I guess
for the preseason.
You and I both getting ready for the year.
My
I'm
brother.
excited.
Yes, sir.
Very excited. The number one storyline, Ramon, we've been doing a Foster 5, if you missed it, of the top storylines of Tennessee Titans training camp. What is your number one storyline of camp?
Because they presented it to us and they set it up this way, and he's got two really good ones going up against them, okay? Cam Ward's ability to perform against the Atlanta Falcons in joint practices and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Bingo. Yep.
Does he fly?
That's it.
Will, does he fly or does he fold? Do we hear Cam had 3 interceptions against that Tampa Bay defense? And we know they have some defensive-minded head coaches. Both of those squads do. It's going to be spicy. How does he perform in those practices? My dog is where I'm at.
It's just the Cam Ward show in 2025 in general. Not just at training camp, but this season is all about Cam, as it should be.
It is.
And that is 100% where we begin with all of this. And the thing that is most interesting to me, Ramon, is what does Cam Ward do the first time he's really challenged? And whether that is Denard Wilson being told throw the kitchen sink at him.
Yeah.
It's the third down and red zone days where situationally the ball's got to come out and it's got to be on time in a condensed space.
Yeah.
More so than just the 2-minute drill and the team periods where you've got field to work with, you've got options, running out of bounds is an option, like things like that. Like it's the third down and red zone, the situational stuff that is what I really want to see Cam grow in. But what happens after he throws a pick? What happens when you get to the 4th day of the week of practice and it's hot and guys are ticked off at each other and things start to heat up a little bit? How Cam Ward responds to adversity and to the challenges that his defense throws at him is fascinating to me. But even beyond that, like you said, the challenges that the other 2 defenses he's going to see in camp throw at him is going to be really interesting.
No doubt about it. These are 2 individuals, man. Raheem Morris, who's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, right? He's seen and done so much against, and this is a rookie. Like, I don't think people understand, like, those DCs look for one drop of blood in the ocean like sharks do when they got rookies on the line like that. Right. And not just that, but it also correlates to how they're going to attack his offensive line. He's going to feel some pressure. Todd Bowles is going to deliver the goods. We're talking about Vita Vea on the other side. Just mention that name up the middle. How does Cam get around those moments right there? Does he step up in the pocket? Is he bailing? Does he errantly throws to somebody he's not supposed to? You want to talk about like a test. This is like a teacher that you have, Will, that's giving you a pop quiz and she mean it directly after Christmas break. Like that. This is the moments that he's walking into right now. And kudos to Coach Callahan for setting this up and facilitating this style of preparation for him in these moments. But I do want to hear it like that because we saw that against Green Bay. I feel like with Levis, who was it in those practices? Seattle. And those practices where we said, it'll be okay. It was preseason. Even myself was like, oh, man, it's just a practice rep. Now, that actually matters because these coaches put a lot of, they put a lot of weight in those practices, though.
I don't think it's one size fits all. I think sometimes what happens in preseason is an indication of how the season's going to go.
Right.
Sometimes preseason wakes you up and forces legitimate change.
Yeah.
To where you make some mistakes in training camp that then you learn from and are able to correct by the time the season comes. I mean, there was a training camp where Marcus Mariota did not throw a single interception all of training camp.
Yeah.
And then the season started and it was, okay. Right? But then there was the training camp where Ryan Tannehill couldn't stop throwing interceptions.
True.
And unfortunately, in the regular season, that continued. Yeah. So I don't think if Cam Ward comes out and is a turnover machine, which I don't foresee happening, but if Cam Ward is not good, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be that this season. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, if he's lighting it up and has another practice where he's 18 of 20 with 4 touchdowns and no picks, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to light it up in the regular season. Sometimes training camp can just be that.
Yeah.
Training camp.
It can be, but I would say this specifically in those situational ball moments. third down, ones versus ones, backed up ones versus ones, or just open, call it and haul it from the defense? How does he adjust, man?
That's my question right there.
Yeah. So that's my number one on this list.
I like it. What's your biggest storyline of Titans training camp? What are you most interested to learn? 615-737-1045 is our number. I think in my top 5, I don't have a list, but I think I'm putting Dan Moore's growth and development up there.
I'm with you.
I think Dan is afforded a trial period, an acclimation period to learn how to practice and play under Bill Callahan. Oh. And I think, again, Brian Callahan is adamant that for his guys at the quarterback room, practice is about experimenting and trying things.
No doubt.
I think the same can be said for other positions as well, to an extent, that you want to try to see how different boundaries can be pushed. Like, was that a thing for you as a lineman? Am I just characterizing a quarterback thing too unfairly for everyone? Like, how much did you experiment and try to say, can I get away with X, Y, or Z in practice that I wouldn't necessarily try in a game?
Early on, you do. But here's the thing. It's a position of repetition so much that you need to really, specialize in your strengths more than anything and minimizing your weaknesses. Like, that's what training camp is. So it's not necessarily the experiences. Like, I will say, to your point, though, Peter Skoronski figured out from the guys we've talked to, Duke Manyweather, his ability to jump guys, as far as getting the fight started, was an experimentation for him, right? I would expect moving forward, him to master that. Because the sooner he knows how to master that, defense is going to try to attack that. And at that point of him mastering, he needs to minimize other situations, whether it be working with his left tackle or his center and stuff like that. But Peter, moving forward, will be smart to specialize in his strengths. It's not a whole lot of wiggle room because the margin for error of getting sacks or exposing yourself, that's just such a fragile spot to be in. Like, wide receiver running routes, that's a little bit different in space. But in confinement of the line of scrimmage, it ain't much that you need to be experimenting with, to be quite honest with you.
I think that's the question for Dan, as someone that maybe didn't look totally comfortable with all of Bill Callahan's drills and toys, for lack of a better term, to train linemen. Like, the process of Dan Moore being comfortable at a Bill Callahan practice is something I'm really interested in, because I think he's afforded some time to get used to it. And from what you have told me and from what Kevin Zeitler said last, month, about the differences in a Bill Callahan practice and what a lot of other practices are like around the league. Just getting used to that, I think, is interesting. I think it's what the pass rush looks like without pads on. Like, the quickness off the edge of Femi Oladejo before the pads come on, the explosiveness, the speed around the edge, I think is something that he will be able to really take advantage of. But when the pads come on, the physicality level of the edge rushers specifically, and Femi being a more quick, more slightly built than Draymond Jones, maybe an Arden Key, but being kind of the specialist speed guy off the edge, what does that physicality and power look like from Femi Oladejo against the Titans tackles? I think is an interesting one.
No doubt. You mentioned one more time, so to go back to Dan Moore, his, I think, is more corrections. Did he look at the tape and that brutal 4-hour segment that he said with Coach Bill Callahan and take those corrections to the field, though, too? Yeah, I think that's the biggest point that he can do. Like, I told you, some of the sacks he was doing, he was waist bending, leaning, and overexerting himself in moments where he should have been sitting back. Did he learn from that? That's something that you can tweak.
Sure. 615-737-1045 is our number. We stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Coming up, second half of the show, if you were sleeping in early this morning, we got your headlines for you to start the day, including pen to paper at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday. We'll dive into that coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation, man. We've been trying to tell y'all to stay cool this summer. You need to. But If your windows aren't keeping the AC in your home, you got a problem on your hand. Well, Window Nation can also help you with that. They have energy-efficient replacement windows, and your home will be comfy and cool for the rest of the summer. Better yet, Window Nation is currently offering you 50% off all window styles and no interest until the year 2030.
Until 2030, Ramon. It is a great deal, and it's one of the best deals that you are going to get from our good friends at Window Nation. Save big this month, 50% off all window styles and zero interest for 5 years. We love working with Window Nation because of how respected they are with their customers. An A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau, 96% customer satisfaction rating, and over 45,000 five-star reviews. Ramon, Window Nation has installed over 2 million windows across the country. You need to get in on this deal. Hurry, the sale ends soon. Check them out online at windownation.com or call them 866-90-NATION, online at windownation.com.
It is 8 a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans training camp is back. It's report day as the Titans report to camp today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park with conditioning tests and practice starting up tomorrow. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Borgonzi will speak to the media today at 12 p.m. And, of course, you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Yesterday, the Titans and second-round rookie Femi Oladejo agreed to terms on a 4-year, $8.4 million contract, including the first 3 years fully guaranteed and a signing bonus of $2.76 million. The Titans now have their entire 2025 draft class signed and ready to go for training camp. In other NFL news, per Multi reports this morning, Cincinnati Bengals star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, who's been seeking a new contract all offseason, officially will not report to training camp today, as he posted on Instagram that he has returned home to his home in Florida. Hendrickson has said from the start that he will not play on his current deal, and he's sticking to his word. Also, Bengals first-round pick in this year's draft, Shamar Stewart, also not reporting to camp, as Stewart is the lone first-round pick that is still yet to sign their rookie contract. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. They are locally owned all around Middle Tennessee. Scooters Coffee, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045 at noon today. Titans press conference to begin training camp 2025. It is here. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Borgonzi speaking with the media today at noon. Tomorrow morning, Brian Callahan will speak to begin practice, which we will narrate for you live and in person from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. We're excited. Football practice tomorrow, Moan Foster, and report day today.
Man, we are so back. I know we keep saying that old cliche thing right there, but it is NFL is going to do a great rollout this week too. I love when they actually do these types of things, back to football, bring family out. I think some teams were doing like the in-stadium stuff, but I feel like the NFL now mandates every team to do a community base, get everybody back in the stadium. It's just a good feel-good, time of the year, to be quite honest with you.
For sure.
As much as we love football here, it really is a season. And I look forward to it every single year, Will.
Looking forward to the open practice in Nissan Stadium this weekend. Tickets still available for that. They are free. You just got to sign up.
Wow.
Get you a code to scan, and you are in to watch Cam Ward. Imagine there'll be a pretty good crowd there to see old number one for the first time in a Titans jersey in quite some time.
You want to hear something that's super crazy or unique considering what I do right now? That was a portion of my life growing up from like 12 to maybe 18 to 19. I didn't even really care about football like that. This type of stuff.
That's surprising.
I loved playing it.
What did you care about?
Discovery Channel.
Oh.
Like being out.
Beta Club.
Kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea that I was waiting for said team to come on and the season to kick off. No. And I think it was part of the fact that I was in the mix, trying to get recruited, trying to survive college. And to be quite honest with you, when we went to training camp and like college, I wasn't watching much preseason like that. And it's probably because I was chasing my own dreams for the most part. Sure. But in high school, I'd watch it on the I'd watch it or whatever at home on Sundays, or it'd be on. And we have Fox and the Cowboys or Titans would be on and stuff like that. But it wasn't at top of my list at 12 o'clock. Hey, I'm sitting down in front of the TV. It's weird. Now, here I am, consuming my life with football.
Every second.
And I love it.
Of every day.
And I love it. Were you deep into it as a kid?
I was.
You were?
Yep. I definitely was.
Yeah.
Certainly. And both Titans and Vols, I mean, that's the way I was raised. I tell people all the time, I was raised the first generation of Titans fans who are lifelong Titans fans.
For sure.
I mean, the Titans came to town when I came to town.
Yeah.
Same
Seriously.
here. So when I not only came to town, but came to Earth. So no, it feels a little extra special to me just as someone that was raised never knowing Nashville as anything but a professional sports city. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people who are now old enough to buy season tickets and old enough to really not only watch this team and like this team and buy tickets to watch them, but cover it. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are covering this team that were growing up with my age and my generation who are Titans fans for their entire lives. So it's always been special to me, for sure.
For sure.
It's a privilege to be able to talk about the team and hang out with you guys and do this job and be here for another training camp. We don't take it for granted.
No, absolutely not. But now I'm rabid about it, Will. I absolutely love it.
Beef on YouTube says, they won't be on the field today. I thought I was going to see some highlights today. Nope. I know you're fiending for ladder drills, but one more day. One more day.
Today is probably conditioning tests.
Scratching your neck. Y'all got any of them routes on air?
You need an antidote right now.
Y'all got any of those donut tackling drills? I don't know.
Those horn blasting out there. Yeah.
Talking about biggest storylines at training camp, Jayhawk, our producer, Justin Hawkins, what you got for us on your biggest storyline this morning?
Yeah, the quarterback situation. So with L'Jarius Sneed, reported to start on PUP. I'm curious to see how the backups are going to do. Darrell Baker played some really good snaps last year, so I'm curious to see how Roger McCreary is going to start camp going into year 4 with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. going into year 2. How does he step up in replacement because he did fairly well with some interceptions last year. So I'm curious to see how they do in replacement of L'Jarius Sneed until he can get ramped up with his health status.
It's a good point.
That's a great point, Hawk.
And I think, too, that impacts the quarterback discussion, too. Because if Cam Ward lights it up, but L'Jarius Sneed isn't out there, then you're getting on-the-job training for Jamari Harris, for Marcus Harris, for Gabe Judy-Lowley, for young corners in that secondary. But it would be even more impressive if Cam Ward had a successful camp with L'Jarius Sneed on the field.
For sure. Because the challenge of day-to-day seeing an elite guy that we perceive as being elite out there, challenging his wide receivers, and it preps them too. What's it? Iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. Like, that matters in these moments. You want it to be good on good and not just a cakewalk for those guys. There's a portion of camp, especially the early parts of it, where coaches try to make it as hard as it possibly can be to see who's going to fold or fly, as I like to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is those moments in camp of having your best players out there pay dividends for the start of the season. And also, the other component of it is the idea that there is no 4th preseason game. So, and I was just about to go, we have a comment that said the special team improvement. Like, what does that look like when it's good on good and you can rest guys like that and step into the plate? So there's a lot that has to be hashed up. I think this is probably a bigger job for Coach Brian Callahan than it was even last year. With the idea where this team is, there's a better, I think, feel of expectation for him.
What do you mean?
What I mean by
the
this
expectations are higher this year than they were last year?
Because Cam,
I don't know if I agree with that.
Right or wrong, it is, like I said before, it is his entire offseason of him having his bearings underneath him.
Sure.
It is the direction of Coach Brian Callahan with the help that you feel like you have. Borgonzi being in the fold.
Sure, yeah.
Chad building up exactly as he said. And the second time around, to me, says it should be a higher expectation of development.
Long term, yes, but we forget, I think, Ramon, how high expectations and hopes were this time last year. Like, think about how pleased we were with Will Levis and the Pete Prisco piece of going behind the scenes with Brian Callahan. And, hey, I took this job because I wanted to work with Will Levis, and Levis is ready to take that next step. And we spent all this money. L'Jarius Sneed is here. Calvin Ridley is here. Is this the best cornerback room the Titans have ever had in Nashville as a Titans team, since they moved? Like, expectations were pretty high last year. I don't think expectations are as high for this team as they were for last year's team now. No.
I do.
Because I think there is more realism in that building to say we didn't go out and chase the shiny objects this offseason. We didn't go give up a third-round pick for a third straight year to bring in a veteran.
No.
We didn't go sign for $100 million another wide receiver. We didn't go pay $10 million a year for running back. We did all that last year. Yeah. Now we're making realistic and more practical signings on one-year deals with the expectation that this is a rebuild. Because this time last year, we were not using the rebuild word. Now we are. And I think they know that over there in that facility.
I guess my point of this one is Tavondre in year 2. Tony Pollard bringing it back too.
And you're right.
All of that to
there are
me
young
raises
players,
my expectations.
100%.
Yes, 100%.
There are young players that you feel confident can take a step from year 1 to year 2 or year 2 to year 3. But I think we quickly forget how many shiny objects were added to this roster that we were pumped about this time last year.
I still am. It's just, you know what it is, Will? You're not pumped about the offensive line signings. That's all. That's just how we are.
No, it's not that at all. I think this offensive line is going to be actually pretty decent if they stay healthy.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, is if you have that in place with the healthier Tajay Spears, with Tyler Lockett also being signed, with Calvin Ridley, who's super excited to work with.
I agree with all that.
All of that, to me, I think raises the expectation with the understanding of Houston has still gotten better. Jacksonville has to.
Yeah, it raises the expectation from 3 wins last year.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this team sneaking into the playoffs last year.
Oh.
Are you saying that this year?
No, and I say no.
That's my
I'm
point.
not saying that.
That's my point.
Sure. Yeah. No.
So that's why the expectation isn't higher. I think the expectation is more realistic, and I think that is a perfectly fine thing.
I live that life.
Because Chad Brinker, when they hired Mike Borgonzi, told Jim White at TennesseeTitans.com, we want first downs and not touchdowns.
Yeah.
Amy
100%.
Adams-Strunk is on board with the process of rebuilding a draft and develop organization. That, to me, says this is a rebuild. We know it. Bear with us. We are a team in construction, under construction. They may surprise us and be good this year. They may surprise us and back their way to the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, it's the NFL. There's 32 teams that can be sold hope today on their pathway being optimistic to be decent this year. This league is built for everyone to have a chance every single year, and I recognize that, but I'm not going to count on it.
I would. Okay, so if it still sits the same, the over-under, if it's AI generated correctly, is 5.5. With what they have coming back and who they have at quarterback, the way he's projected, especially as a number 1 overall pick, I would take the over. Now, that ain't saying that it's 9 wins, but it's the idea that with a better Jeff that's very, I guess, direct in his goals this year, and I think a lot of him is weighed upon what Tavondre does, what Draymond Jones does, and also the secondary having, at some point, L'Jarius Sneed healthy. I raise the floor just a little bit, though. The expectation of them being...
The floor has been raised,
yes. Yes,
I think the floor of this team has been raised with Cam Ward coming in for Will Levis.
And the control of his team, finally.
I will agree with you on
yes.
that. 100%.
I don't get as much, to your point, I don't get as much fluff. I look at it and say, okay, these guys have matured. Especially if Jarvis Brownlee takes that step. I think the maturity level of this defense and team goes in a way better direction than it did last year without the hoopla.
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll talk some balls with Austin Price coming up on the other side. Lots of discussion for Tennessee football a week away from its own summer camp and fall camp as they get ready for Syracuse in just over a month, plus some headlines. We got Tony Petitti talking at Big Ten Media Days. We've got Cincinnati edge rusher disputes that, of course, are continuing because it's Cincinnati. We'll continue to cover all that for you here in Hour 3. That continues coming up next.
It is Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. And good people, that service is exactly as I just said. It is a medical house call for you. Just like back in the day when the doctors would come to your house. Well, guess what? The exact same thing happens right now, man. Their website is medicalhousecalls.com. You can call or text them at 615-838-2375. But here's the thing about it. A lot of folks don't like going to the ER. Some folks feel nervous about it. You're just a germaphobe sometimes, too. Well, you can book your visit. After a quick chat with them, they will schedule and come directly to your house. It's a concierge. A lot of people like that privatized ability to be serviced by somebody, man. And here's the thing. They can bring you medicine to your house. They can set your script. It's also the idea that you can get your labs taken for you for a flat fee. You can get a full exam, treatment plan, and prescriptions if you need it to. And it's not just that side of it, too. They're offering you IV therapy. It is the best way to get you back to your best self. From fighting the flu, and y'all know what the fall does to a lot of people, those colds and just sicknesses come up. They also have performance-enhancing cocktails, too. Their nurses will come to your door and administer IVs to get you better and feeling better fast, too. If you're feeling fatigued, persistent illness or an injury, difficulty focusing, or just being productive, there's an IV therapy for that too. Athletic recovery, immune boosting blends. They have rapid rehydration if you like to go out and have a good time on Broadway, or just an energy boost. Listen to me. It is simple. If you want to have somebody come to your house and have you a primary health care, visit medicalhousecalls.com or call or text this number, 615-838-2375.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooter's Coffee, continues on this Tuesday morning at hour 3, 615-737-1045, the number. On me, my mistake, I forgot that Austin Price was gallivanting around Europe again. He'll be back with us next week. He mentioned that on air with us as he was driving down I-75 to SEC Media Days. Ramon, I just got so just caught up in the chaos and the fun and the hoopla of SEC Media Days that I forgot that he told us that literally on air a week ago.
Well, it sounded like he was having a good time driving it or riding, whichever one he was doing, man. So we just kind of got lost in translation right there.
Well, we got plenty to talk about this morning anyway, so we will certainly keep you updated with a little bit of all stuff, because Kirk Herbstreit said some stuff yesterday, Ramon.
He did.
That were interesting. On the Try That in a Small Town podcast, Kirk Herbstreit talking about what he heard about Nico Iamaleava leaving Tennessee football.
I don't know the true story. I've heard different stories. Some people thought it was about money. I've heard from close sources it was more about Nico's dad going to Josh back in December before they played Ohio State, like, hey, listen, you got to get better at offensive line and better at receiver. You got to get better around him if you want us to stick around, which blows my mind that a college quarterback's dad would do that to a head coach. And I think at the end of the day, when they got into spring ball, it was still more of you haven't brought people in to make him and this offense better. Again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was hearing. So I don't think it was necessarily about the money. I think it was more about, is Nico going to be able to play well enough to eventually be a first pick in the draft with the players that they had around him? That's disgusting to me if that's true.
It's Kirk Herbstreit last week on a podcast.
Yeah.
Ramon, what's your initial reaction to that?
You got to breathe on this one because
It's a sigh. Yeah, that's the right
I
reaction.
did, man, because
Like, here we go again.
I know. And what's fascinating, I heard all of this too. Kirk's getting some good information. And there's two sides to that story. Is Nico's dad is unique. Every father, somebody that has kids, wants their kids to be successful. You want to put them in the best situation possible, so that you can capitalize off what you think their talents are. It's a balancing act, man, to try to figure out what is best for your kids. Hey, and then this is your oldest. This is your first one. You've seen them be successful too. So let's get down to the crux of it. All right, let's start discussing this thing. Kirk Herbstreit said he went to Coach Heupel in December, right before the Ohio State game, with demands and asking. There's also a rumor that they even threatened to jump into the portal before that because that window was opening up for Nico to transfer out in those moments. So to me, I think this is very disrespectful in those moments where you're trying to figure out you just made it with your quarterback, your son, to the college football playoffs. The idea that you need something in, okay, all right, whatever. I get that. But the other side of it for me is this. There's also a business behind what you're asking for.
There is now.
You're not the only ask in those moments right there. Yes, you play the most important position, but here's what I will also tell you. There was a boatload of money, I'm sure, that was paid out to a certain point to get y'all to campus to satisfy your needs as a player going to that university. And it's not just Nico, it's others in those moments too. And I view this and say to myself, well, what did you do to actually make yourself either better in those moments or to help build them up? Because to be quite honest with you, I do think he rode the bus more than drive the bus last year too. Now you can say his ability to get or the offensive line inability to block for him the way you needed him to. I get that too. But here's also I would tell almost any parents in these type of moments. That's what the money's for. You are a paid employee at those moments too. Mm-hmm. Now, like I said before, the budget of what he was asking for, we don't know what was available to the Vols as far as the collective goes. That's that side of it too. And then there's also the idea that how much did you elevate this team to get it to that point? You can't allow certain stuff to happen, whether that be in your house, whether that be in your workplace, or if you are a coach that's got to manage parents in those moments.
Right.
This is a weird era in which you have to operate as a coach, as a school, and as an organization.
Yep.
Only way this type of stuff happens is in the NFL, and those teams cut you.
Sure.
And that's essentially what happened in this moment. That's nuts to me.
I think what makes this topic relevant, there's a Titans tie into this that we're going to get into in a minute because Frostbite on YouTube says, let's move on. Winners win regardless of what types of players are on the team. Well, there's two reasons why this is still a story. First of all, I'm going to be honest. Kirk Herbstreit's got a really important place in college football. I think it is dangerous to talk about things on the record and give the caveat of, well, I don't know for sure, and then tell something like that. I think first, Kirk has got to be careful. He doesn't need advice from me. I like Kirk. Kirk does a good job. I think he is the most influential voice in college football. But I think there is a gravity that comes with being the most influential voice in college football that if you're going to make the statement, well, I don't know for sure, I've heard a lot of things, then maybe you just don't say anything, first of all. So that's the first point I want to make. Secondly, I think there's a lot of information that is hard to confirm because there are a lot of people representing athletes all around college athletics right now. Like, do I believe that somebody probably called Josh Heupel in December and said, hey, we need more help in order to stick around on this roster? Yeah, I do believe that probably happened. Can I tell you without a shadow of a doubt it was Nico's dad? Not necessarily. Can I tell you without a shadow of a doubt that Nico knew it was happening? No. Can I tell you without a shadow of a doubt it was somebody who is being paid to represent Nico? Not really. Like, I just think the whole quote-unquote camps that are representing college athletics run wild in the offseason. And I think there's a lot of truth and a lot of untruths that are being told about conversations that are happening, but like players don't even know they're happening half the time because they're like, well, that's just my uncle who helped me get a deal. That guy shouldn't be representing me anymore. But like players aren't within those processes because that guy gets Josh Heupel's number and all of a sudden a text, like, is one text in December? Is that all it takes to just be like, hey, well, they were asking for, well, yeah, somebody was asking for that, but like, did Nico even know about it? I don't know. So that is where, again, like we say this all the time. If you're not a Vols fan, if it's not Nico now, it's going to be your quarterback next. It's going to be your running back next. It's going to be your wide receiver next. It's going to be somebody that forces a head coach like Fran Brown to come out and say, yeah, that's the homie from Ohio State that gets $2 million. You're not getting that.
Come on, man.
So again, whenever we talk about Nico, we get a comment all the time of like, please move on. Well, like, college athletics hasn't moved on because this is going to keep happening until we have a collective bargaining agreement that gives you time frames and windows where you can go back to the table to renegotiate, but only on these times when this amount of your deal is up or if you pay this buyout.
Right.
So anyway,
and
that's my spiel on all of this.
I'm looking at the guys that they did bring in. Like, at what point if this is true, Nico's father is a college evaluator too, because I'm looking at guys that they did bring in, like Sam Pendleton. From Notre Dame, who played on that national championship, the team that went to the national championship, who played a role for them that started a few games for them. What about him? What about Wendell Moy, also, who was an all-conference at Arizona? Like, there were pieces in place to go get him guys. As far as what the spring looks like, what was the availability of guys wanting to come to the University of Tennessee? Like, my thing is this. Is the attraction of wanting to either come play with Nico. What was his part in that, too? Did he try to go get Concepcion to come to the University of Tennessee? Like, the idea that potentially one of the conversations I heard too was the offense. Okay, well, you also knew this was the offense when you signed allegedly that deal for $8 million to come to the University of Tennessee from Long Beach, California. Was that not part of the concern then? You can't ask a coach to change his stripes within a year because you demand those things. Imagine how many other parents come behind him asking, Coach, you need to change this. I'm asking you to manage this for my coach. What about if this was in this position, a Rodney Garner that you go to when it comes to like, hey, Coach, you need to change your defensive scheme for my son at defensive line. That type of stuff doesn't fly.
Right.
It just doesn't. You know what you're being recruited to in this recruiting process. These are the questions that you have to ask up front. And also, too, I say this. When you look at the way Nico played last year, I feel like there's a buildup to allow a guy to do more. It's the same way Coach Callahan is speaking about Cam Ward and his ability to, hey, we're going to just spoon feed him first before we give him the entire buffet. I think if you follow the plan sometimes in these situations, these scenarios, you find yourself in a better spot if you just look at the entire landscape of what you're asked to do.
Right.
We're talking about two guys within 1 year, a Hendon Hooker and a Joe Milton, who both got drafted. And Joe still had high value to be drafted or to be traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Hendon, what was the 3rd-round pick with the torn ACL?
Yeah.
If you have the talent to deliver, they're going to come find you in those moments. Is Tennessee recruiting like the University of Alabama? No, not right now.
But that's also not where Nico went.
Exactly.
Nico went to UCLA, who has a much worse supporting cast than what Tennessee has.
So was this about so I guess we got to go back. So was this about the actual personnel and team, or was it about control and the way you as a parent? But it seems to me it's the way you as a parent wanted this to go. And when you run a corporation like the University of Tennessee or the University of Alabama, you can't allow those types of parents to come in and say, you know what, you need to do it my way. You lose all integrity. You lose your team at that point in time. And that sucks because, again, to your point a second ago, did Nico even have any knowledge of this?
I think a little bit, but no, I think you're right. I think it's another quote-unquote camp or entourage running a lot of things, for sure. Captain Trips on YouTube says, DJ Lagway would never. Not yet. Never say never.
Never say never.
In today's era of college athletics, never say never.
Never say never. I
don't get too attached to players on your team, ever, in college athletics.
Well, he was forced out or not. I didn't think Carson Beck would be a type to leave and go to Miami.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. This is a different era in college sports, but as a coach, and you know how coaches are, they're insane mentally when it comes down to what they want their teams to look like. I think it was flagrant on Nico's dad's side, and I'll be honest and just full transparent. There's probably a lot of fault on Tennessee's too. The avenue of communication may have been lost from December to April whenever he chose to leave. We don't even know if they talked over that time span on what you want or the windows of who we need to bring in here. But to expect them to either change the offense or, again, will spend, like you mentioned the Fran Brown comment of a wide receiver wanting potentially $2 million from them. Fella, I just can't do that.
Yeah, right.
And let's just say I may have had a conversation with somebody about that wide receiver leaving. What if that guy isn't even happening at his new place? If he just stuck to the plan, it's sticky, and each side's going to have people rooting for them in these type of moments.
Couple of questions in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube about Boo Carter. I don't want to get into too much of Boo Carter stuff with Tennessee right now because I think the rumor mill is a little out of control.
Yeah, it is.
About things regarding Boo Carter's status for the season, and I think we will learn in due time what Boo Carter's role looks like for the season, and I'm not going to pretend to have any insider knowledge of what his role looks like for this upcoming season, but I think we'll ask Brent Hubbs about it Friday and about, if Boo Carter has been on time for workouts and practicing and all these things, and Brent will tell us whatever Brent could tell us, but at this point, I think it's wait and see on guys being healthy, guys being available, and guys being on the team until you see them on the field for fall camp. So that's the reality of that situation, and I'm not going to comment on kind of crazy personal rumors that I can't confirm and that I can't corroborate off the field because that's reckless, and that'd be irresponsible in my job doing any of that. So.
Yeah, it would be. Boo's stuff is up in the air for me, and I'm not touching it publicly.
No, I'm not either.
We have a comment in our YouTube chat from Ryan. Ryan says this, and this is how I feel about it. He goes, can we also stop letting Nico and other athletes get a pass on things like this? If you're going to demand and accept grown man money, then you better be ready to make grown man decisions and conversation. That's why I always say, that's what the money's for. Asking any Vols fan going into last year, the expectation of what Nico was, what we thought he would do versus what he did, I don't think he met those expectations. He didn't mess it up, and I think there's talent in that too. But to his father in those moments right there, if there is the idea that you're supposed to elevate a team. We're looking at a guy like Lenore Sellers, right? With the expectation. Like if there's an expectation for Arch Manning right now.
DJ Lagway elevated his team last season.
You have to also elevate your team. That plays a part in it. And I don't think that he was able to hit the penthouse button with what he was asking versus what Nico's performance was last year.
So the way Nico, this was the second point I wanted to get into, and the second part of this and the way it relates to current events. The way Nico struggled to find a suitor in the transfer portal. Like the way teams wanted no part of Nico because of the way he kind of quit on his team. Is that going to happen to Will Levis? Like, are teams in the NFL going to treat him like Notre Dame and like USC treated Nico to say, no, we don't want any part of somebody that just kind of quit on his team and pieced out? How does that relate in the NFL to a Will Levis situation where he's getting shoulder surgery the day before, or he's planning shoulder surgery the weekend before training camp? Are teams going to hold that against him at all, Ramon?
No, I don't think so. Not in the NFL.
I agree. I don't think so either.
Not in the NFL.
I asked the question to say no, but continue.
No, not in the NFL. The NFL has a unique situation. The pool of talent is so much smaller because to find guys with elite traits that can actually play for you is so much harder. You can't get trial runs with guys in the NFL. You have to know exactly what you're getting into, and I think it's 4 years of tape that shows you what this guy could be, and a lot of teams buy into that. They subscribe to Will Levis potentially being the dude moving forward. Think about how many rehashed quarterbacks. Heck, Jameis Winston's 30 year that he had. He's still, I think, 30 interceptions. And he still found a home because there's not that many guys that can think and play the way you need them to in the NFL, which is why I don't see a team holding that against them. I said this comment in the chat of ours, and I'll be very clean with it, but it's the NFL has a hard issue on their has a very hard issue that they deal with every single year. You know what that is? Trying to turn very loose people into to very straightforward men is what they do. And that's the issue that the NFL has. Somebody's going to want to rehab Will Levis and say, whew, we got not necessarily another Sam Darnold.
Right.
But somebody that can come in and play well for you. We got a situation where Mitch Trubisky is continually getting signed. Like, the role that Will Levis has to play may be different. Mm-hmm. He may be the very serviceable Chase Daniel moving forward. But he's definitely, I don't think this is going to be held against him at all. Somebody will look at that and say that's one less year he's had on his body.
I agree. I think there is more player empowerment over generations of NFL football than there is in college football. Yeah. I think we're still getting used to players having the power that they do in college athletics. Mm-hmm. I think coaches take that a little bit more personally because these are seen more as kids or young adults. Whereas in the NFL, you are the CEO of your own personal business. You are the CEO of Will Levis Enterprises, if you're Will. And I think there is more of an understanding that you have to do what's best for you because you're getting paid to do it. And if you take unnecessary risks, you are forfeiting the potential to make millions of more dollars in the future. I think NFL organizations understand that more and take these decisions less personally than college coaches who have been raised to think, oh, well, it's a privilege for you to get a free education and to play for me for free.
Right.
Like, college coaches are still getting used to players being business enterprises and making business decisions. So I think NFL teams are not going to hold that against Will the way they do maybe college teams holding it against Nico quitting on his team.
We got a guy, someone in our chat that's there's more context to what you're saying, Mike. He goes, Devondre Campbell, the guy that refused to play anymore. The Niners linebacker who quit the team last year got blacklisted. Devondre Campbell was also 32 years old. He had one good year in 2021 where he made first-team All-Pro, and even still last year, he played in 13 games, too.
He's not a quarterback.
He's not a quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Can he get blacklisted? Yeah, I'll say that. But, like, I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you. Somebody may still kick the tires on the idea that he'll come in because they love a good playmaker.
There are teams that major in quarterback reclamation projects. I'm thinking of San Francisco,
First up,
Minnesota, and the LA Rams as the first ones that come to mind that love taking failed, talented, toolsy quarterbacks, sitting them in the bench and in the QB room and trying to develop them into something else, turn them into a commodity.
Yo.
Yeah.
Always, because if you hit on one, you get that cheap labor and a lower contract, so you ain't got to pay hundreds of millions of dollars.
And again, like we said earlier, like, I am not in Will Levis's brain. I'm not in his camp. I don't know definitively how long he's known he has really kind of had some shoulder pain. So I can't 100% tell you he quit on the team. I think only Will Levis can truly, with truth serum, answer whether or not he quit on the team. I think the timing of it suggests some challenges. I think the timing of it doesn't do Will any favors, but that's the decision that he made. And in order to make himself more marketable and more profitable to teams in 2026, that's the drawback that he took to the decision he made. And that's worth it for him. And that can just be that. That can be okay. Will Levis can make the decision for many of you to not like him in order to get right and make himself better for whoever hires him next. That is worth it to him, and that's his call, and I think we all got to live with that. And we move forward with Cam Ward being the starting quarterback of the Titans starting today when training camp begins. And it's 8:42. Cam's probably already been at the facility for 2.5 hours. And that's the guy you got playing for you now and representing you now, and it's a little bit different than the guy that is getting surgery. 615-737-1045. Cincinnati's got issues. Classic. We'll talk about him next.
It's Ramon Foster for Brian's Motorsports. Good people. Yes, that Brian, man. That Brian's Motorsport where you see up and down the streets of Middle Tennessee or even outside of the state, man, you see the BMS on those vehicles or you see a vehicle and he's like, yep, it looks like Brian did that one. That's because he will do this for you, man. You dream it, they design it and build it for you, man. It is that simple. Their social medias are always at Brian's Motorsports. But here's the thing about it. If you're ready to elevate your vehicle, man, Brian's Motorsports specializes in transforming rides with statement-making custom wheels, immersive audio experiences, and head-turning style through custom tint and wraps and wheels, whatever you need. Whether you're seeking something subtle or a complete custom build, they will deliver cutting-edge style and performance for all vehicles, including the most exotic and exclusive cars, too. If you're a Jeep or Bronco owner, man, that wants the ultimate off-road performance, Brian's Motorsports is the undisputed leader when it comes to those aggressive off-road appearances and performance that made Brian's Motorsports an undisputed leader in the off-road upgrades. They offer tire and wheel packages, lift kits, lighting kits, winches, and interior and audio customizations, graphics, and a combination of everything listed from mile to wow to make your off-road experience what you've dreamed of. And just on-road, too. If you just want to, have your car looking nice going up and down the road, they can do that for you. Simple things like just getting new tires. Brian can make that work for you. Again, you can visit briansmotorsports.com or simply visit them at 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3. Again, the 104.5 The Zone squad going to be out and about at Tennessee Titans training camp this week. And tomorrow, Ramon Foster, we will have quite a crew out there covering Tennessee Titans training camp. But we are live from the table tomorrow, and who knows who else may join us.
Can't wait.
We know Rhett Bryan will be there.
Yeah, he will.
We're ready. We're excited. Mm-hmm. Are you properly hydrated with your hydration packs and everything for tomorrow?
I am, dude. I took one of those.
Yeah, they're good.
They work.
Very good.
Okay, those things are legit, by the way. No free promo, but definitely, since it's hot outside, get y'all some of them.
I'm going to be hitting up Scooter's Coffee for some of those flavored Red Bull infusions, transfusions, things like that.
Yeah.
I cannot get over the orange velvet.
Yeah. I had
drink
a fruit punch one
at Scooter's Coffee.
Yeah, liquid
so
IV
good.
stuff.
Love it.
By the way, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I know, man.
It's your show. It's
your
our
name's
show.
on her, too.
That's true.
We in this thing.
I give you the floor.
I'm so ready for this season to start off because at any time we have any conversation about the Titans, it is always Cam Ward time. I'm going to say this. Can I ask of y'all one thing? And I'm saying this and just reacting to our YouTube chat. Don't mind me, okay? And I'm being half serious, but very kind of serious at the same time, too.
Okay. So you're being serious?
Yes, I'm being serious. If that stadium, okay, with all the construction, with all the problems of parking, with all the problems of getting in and getting out, is not filled to the brim, okay, we going to have a problem, y'all. I promise y'all. I'm going to call you guys out so much. And I know everybody might not be on the Cam Ward train, but what I'm telling y'all is this. Don't let this just be a preseason thing. Don't let this just be a happy you got your guy thing. Make it a thing. Don't let Minnesota come in here and control the lower bowl no more is what I'm asking, right? I know we live in a capitalistic society, but if that stadium isn't filled with two-tone blue and supporters, specifically Cam Ward, man, we're going to have a problem, man. And you should be excited is what I'm telling you, but back it up with showing up and supporting your squad. That's all I'm asking, man. It's his season. It's his time. Officially, I think yesterday with Will Levis going to IR. But, man, support that, man. Support the team is what we're asking. Is that a hard ask, Will?
I think it's a very fair ask.
All right. I'm done.
You've got something that a lot of teams in this league would love to have.
Yeah.
It is a young quarterback with massive potential.
Yeah.
Go watch him.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a good crowd on Saturday at the open practice at Nissan Stadium, too. I think there is a lot of buzz around just watching Cam Ward throw footballs. Sometimes it can just be that simple, and that's great.
He can spin it, too.
He absolutely can spin it. I'm excited to watch it tomorrow. Trey Hendrickson will not report to Bengals camp amid contract stalemate. Shamar Stewart ain't there either. Adam Schefter putting out NFL sack leader Trey Hendrickson in search of a new contract for the better part of 2 off seasons will not be reporting to training camp today with the rest of the Bengals. All along, Hendrickson has said he would not play under his current contract, and he is dug in, sticking to his word. Jordan Schultz with more on this as well at Schultz_report, saying, I'm told the key issue in Bengals Trey Hendrickson negotiations has been the length of the commitment and the guarantees tied to a potential new deal. Both sides remain stuck. The Bengals want to stick to their structure. Hendrickson wants something that reflects his value. So far, no common ground has been found. And as a result, Hendrickson is holding out of training camp. Jordan Schultz adding that Hendrickson and the Bengals made attempts over the past few days to re-engage on a new deal, but talks failed to gain serious momentum. Both sides are dug in and frustrated.
Man, on this one, Trey
sounds like Cincinnati.
It does. And Trey Hendrickson got him. He absolutely got him. He does, because the other side of this is you saw what a very explosive offense would look like with Joe Burrow and his cast of weapons that he has. He still didn't make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It was middle-of-the-road performance as a team, and that's because of the lack of the defense. And you also don't have Shamar Stewart in the fold, and you also have your owner talking about what guys should and should not be doing, and he can't, because that's his doggone team. He paid whatever he paid for. He can say what the heck he wants to. Between him and what Jerry Jones, or is it Paul Brown and Jerry Jones are saying right now about the players, like they're basically telling you need to get down or lay down at this point. And right now, Trey Henderson, I think he holds the cards of this one. And I'm hoping to see a situation where Trent Williams had him. All these fines he's about to get, they probably going to put it back in the signing bonus. But they absolutely need Trey Henderson at this point, though, Will. He got him.
Yeah, they do. You can't sell me, if you're Cincinnati, on that defense being as bad as it was last year, being in a win-now window with Joe Burrow at quarterback, and fumbling this so badly with Trey Hendrickson to where he wouldn't play this season. Yeah. You got to figure something out. Yeah. Got to figure something out. If you really are in a quote-unquote win-now window and Joe Burrow says, as long as I'm here, the window's open, then you got to make smart business decisions on this, and you either trade the guy in the spring or you sign him in July or August, because the ship has sailed on getting maximum value for Trey Hendrickson in the trade market at this point.
You best.
Your leverage is gone.
It's done. It's done.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to have a very explosive offense, but how many offenses are going to be able to score 35 to 42 points a game?
Right. Like, the team still has leverage, don't get me wrong.
They do.
But if they want to be a contender, they don't.
Right. And that's the point. Are you trying to be a competitor or an actual contender?
Like, at the end of the day, teams always have leverage over the players because Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Like, if a team really, like, ices you out and forces you to sit, the player is going to end up losing more than the team in most of those scenarios. This, to me, Ramon, is a situation where, with the unique position Cincinnati is in that division, and with that defense that was so bad last year, and with Shamar Stewart, who's still not signed, they do not have nearly as much leverage as I think other teams would, given the exact same situation, just because of how bad the defense was around Trey Hendrickson last year. Yeah. 615-737-1045. Comment on YouTube says Hendrickson looks like a Titan. No. No. I'm tired of trading day 2 draft picks for other teams' players. I'm good.
You know what that's going to cost you, too?
I am good.
That's going to cost you about $40 million.
Yeah, no, I pass. This team's not in the position to go chase a Trey Hendrickson. No, they're not. 615-737-1045. Hour number 4 getting started next. We've got Media Day posturing on the future of the college football playoff. We've got Femi Oladejo signed. We've got the one question you want to ask Chad Brinker and Mike Berganzi today. We got all that for you coming up next.
901, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans training camp has returned. It is report day as the Titans report to camp today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and practice starts up tomorrow. President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Borgonzi speak to the media today at 12 p.m., and you can, of course, hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Yesterday, the big news for the Titans and second-round rookie Femi Oladejo agreed to terms on a 4-year, $8.4 million contract, with the first 3 years being fully guaranteed, and also a signing bonus, a $2.76 million signing bonus, that is. The Titans have now signed the entire 2025 draft class, and they're ready for training camp tomorrow. In other NFL news, per multiple reports this morning, Cincinnati Bengals star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, who's been seeking a new contract all offseason, officially will not be reporting to training camp today, as he posted on his Instagram that he has returned to his home in Florida. Hendrickson has said from the start that he will not play on his current deal, and he's sticking to his word. Also, Bengals first-round pick in this year's draft, Shamar Stewart, also not reporting to camp, as Stewart is the lone first-round draft pick from this year's draft that has not signed their rookie deal. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yes, this is the big finish of Ramon and Will. Just like a fireworks show, and everybody tries to hit you on the shoulder. Of, hey, no, this is the finale. Well, for your Tuesday morning, this is the finale of Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee, as always. And you can visit a locally owned Scooters location near you: Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Sam Monson of the 33rd team is going to stop by with us coming up in 15 minutes. Check the Mike podcast wherever you download podcasts with our good friends Sam Monson and Steve Palazzolo. Always great NFL discussion that we will benefit from coming up here in 15 minutes. Ramon, it is training camp report day as players make their way to the facility. The Titans have already put out a video of Arden Key bringing the energy, making his way into Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. And Femi Oladejo will make his way into the building today with a brand new contract. First 3 years fully guaranteed. What was your reaction seeing the numbers of that come out yesterday?
Oh, finally. This is my first remarks, man. It was that, and see how his contract was going to be structured. It wouldn't shock me if there would be a new method of operating with this new CBA if they make an amendment on second-round picks as far as, like, this guarantee side of things and how many years those contracts are going to be. Because it's 4 now, but it seems a good bit of these players are getting about 85% guaranteed, or Femi Oladejo got 3 of the 4 years guaranteed and stuff like that. But it's good structure. He gets to get in, get the business behind him, and we knew this was going to happen when those dominoes started to fall. Was it late last weekend, Will? Mm-hmm. That they were starting to get
Thursday
signed.
last week, yep.
Yeah, so good on him. Business is done. Now it's back to football. He get his signing bonus in about, I think it's 14 days. Mm-hmm. So he'll be good to go.
As the Bills report to camp, Tom Pelissero tweets that James Cook will be there, though it remains to be seen how involved he'll be on the field. Cook took part in June minicamp, wants to win a Super Bowl in Buffalo, according to Pelissero. These are the kinds of headlines that we are about to get, as I feel like nowadays, Ramon, in today's NFL, it's one thing to be there for practice. It's another thing to be on the field for practice, because hold-ins have become, I feel like, more popular the past couple of years.
Well, you know why? CBA structure. They can't. It's so expensive to hold out. As long as you're in camp, I think it's not necessarily a holdout anymore. You got to be in the building. Those are the rules. What Trey Hendrickson is doing, he's about to get fined out the wazoo for that one. But moving forward, these guys have to be around and present. That was something that was collectively bargained that the owners wanted. That way, coaches get to have an eyes, and to be quite honest with you, it's one of those internal peer pressure moments that they're really banking on. But you got to have a good agency and mindset to kind of hold out and be like, no, I'm not moving until you guys give me a contract. I think for TJ Watt got his last deal, not this one, but he did the exact same thing. He was working out on the side field while they negotiated on his behalf.
According to reports yesterday from A to Z Sports, Lloyd Cushenberry and L'Jarius Sneed will start the season on the PUP list. That can only last as short or as long as you need it to. So not the kind of move that rules you out for the season. After a certain point, when you go on the PUP list, you are eligible to come off whenever you are able to practice. Ramon, we talked about this morning. At what point do you need to see L'Jarius Sneed out on the field?
I like to see him in some of the joint practices. That's because it's good on good. If we're talking about him being available for games, then it's the idea that, look, this is a game-like setting. I mean, we're not going to ask L'Jarius Sneed to tackle or be in the mix as it pertains to the one-on-one stuff. But if he can get on those 7-on-7s, Michael Penix Jr. with his wide receivers versus his Titans defense, that would be phenomenal to be a part of your game. Only issue for him is if he goes out there and there's an injury. Like, I'm not overly worried. I'm just in the mindset it'd be good to have him available, present, and vocal for his guys while he's out there, or at least getting some reps. Can't go into this regular season just on a dry run, although it's possible.
I would like to see him by the time the Titans practice against Atlanta.
Yeah.
At that point. Michael asking on YouTube, what's wrong with Cushenberry? He tore his Achilles last season.
Michael, where have you been at?
It's all right. There's a lot to sort through. There's a lot of moving parts. We forgive you, Michael. He is still recovering.
Michael, I say that in a light way because I'm like, there's been I guess a graphic of an Achilles repair on social media. That is a very unique surgery right there. So I expect
tie it back together.
Oh my Lord, Will. That was a fearful injury right there, man.
Yeah, no, I've had a lot of Achilles strains and injuries. I low-key still kind of have one that I've never gotten fixed, and that is the thing I'm most afraid of is popping it.
Yeah.
I do not want to do that.
Yeah.
Do not want to do that. Big Ten and ACC talking this morning, and ACC Media Day is going on. We just learned that Jimbo Fisher is joining the ACC network, so that's fun. In an interview with Yahoo Sports, Tony Petitti, the director, the commissioner of the Big Ten, tells Ross Dellinger that he is unmoved by the proposed CFP selection criteria changes that he calls incomplete, says the Big Ten remains against a 5+11 format, and he says he is comfortable with the playoff just sticking to 12 teams, which is interesting. And that is where him and Greg Sankey both appear to be kind of dug in, speaking of the negotiation processes that happen this time of year in the NFL and being dug in like Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals. Yeah, Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti are dug into what they want to be in the college football playoff format. So the Big Ten's long-discussed playoff format, a 4-4-2-2-1 model, which is certainly my proposed format as well, the one I prefer, would give 4 automatic qualifiers to the SEC and Big Ten, 2 each to the ACC and Big 12, 1 to the highest-ranked G5 or G6 champion at this point, and 3 at-large selections. The model is strongly opposed by the ACC and Big 12. It will reduce the subjectivity of the selection committee, incentivize more perennial non-conference matchups, and according to Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, would provide an avenue for interconference play-in style games, like third place versus sixth and fourth plus is fifth for those second play-in spots. Tony Petitti, coming from a television background and wanting the NBA play-in tournament kind of format for the playoff, is obsessed with the added revenue value that would give conferences in negotiations with TV networks, because that is a moneymaker, having a full weekend of a 3-game set of a conference championship game and 2 play-in games. But the SEC is very much against it.
It is. Here's the thing, though, too. At some point, Petitti and Sankey need to have a sit-down in a private room, if they haven't already, to kind of hash this out. Because, to be quite honest with you, this back and forth that they're talking about is becoming, to me, just hot air at this point. And I understand they're both publicly negotiating and trying to leverage themselves and trying to figure out which one is best and who's going to be the leader of it all, essentially, too. But this situation has gotten somewhat tiresome, the discussion of it. And I understand how important it is, too. But at some point, will the adults finally step up to the plate and figure out what's going to happen privately before they start doing this back and forth ping-ponging that they're doing?
Well, they're talking privately. They're just not coming to an agreement.
It's insane to me. Well, keep it at 12 and keep it how it is at this point, too.
It feels like that's where we're headed.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and incorporate the old BCS system of figuring out who needs to be in it if that's the case moving forward, too. But these numbers of 4-4-3-2, like, it's it ruins. I ain't gonna say it's not ruining the game, but it ruins like the mystique of what this is. When you speak about being competitive and who's the king of the hill, essentially. I do like the concept of that three-team playoff essentially at the end of the season. That right there makes it so that nobody strolls into it. That is appealing to me, if I can be quite honest with you.
Well, it gets you the best 12 teams at the end of the season, not over the course of the entire season.
It eliminates the fluff.
Like last season, I believe South Carolina was one of the top 12 teams in America.
Yeah.
But they did not have one of the best 12 seasons in America.
True.
I mean, they needed 2 goal line fumbles to beat Old Dominion early in the season.
Yeah.
Part of this, I think, is really interesting, Ramon, at the bottom of this article from Ross Dellinger, and something I want to get more into this week in the times that we're not at Titans training camp. The CFP staff proposed to commissioners an adjustment to the committee's strength of schedule ranking that gives more weight to games played, for instance, against the top 30 to 40 programs in the country. Secondly, a new data point. Now, this is significant. A new data point, strength of record, has been created that grants more weight to good wins and doesn't penalize as much a program for losses against ranked or top teams. The SEC is trying to change the criteria to get more SEC teams into the college football playoff. That is what this is.
That's exactly.
Because strength of record favors the Southeastern Conference and the grind of an SEC schedule to be able to say, well, hey, we play in our conference 5 top 15 teams just in our conference schedule. So you shouldn't hold that against us come December when it's time to pick the college football playoff. Tony Petitti doesn't care.
No.
He is against widening the gap of at-large pool from 7 to 11 teams, as it gives the 12-member selection committee a rotation of mostly ADs and former coaches more authority, saying that it's not that we think the committee does a poor job. I'm just not sure how you make it better. The more teams you add, the more tough decisions you create. We're going to give the committee more to do. What's the reason to do that? Giving them more work to do and more discretion? This is a rare moment, Ramon, where I am on the Big Ten side against the SEC. Yeah. I totally agree with Tony Petitti on this.
Yeah, for sure.
The 4-4-2-2-1 model more emphasizes the value of the regular season and the conference races to where you are battling for an automatic bid with the top 2 spots and trying to get out of the play-in weekend.
Yeah, perfectly stated, Will.
Yep. Coming up next, Sam Monson of the 33rd team will join us. We'll talk about his perspective on the Titans, his optimism for Cam Ward. We'll go around the division a little bit, as well as Colts ownership commenting on Anthony Richardson still having time to compete with Daniel Jones. We'll talk about it all, as always, with our good friend Sam Monson coming up next. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. With the 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning by our good friend Sam Monson of the 33rd Team. Check the mic wherever you download podcasts with Sam and our good friend Steve Palazzolo. Great follow and podcast talking NFL football. Sam, what's going on? How are you?
Good. How's it going, fellas?
We're good. Report day is here. We're watching football practice tomorrow. It's hard to be much better this morning. Sam, how optimistic are Titans fans allowed to be entering this season with Cam Ward at quarterback, a remade offensive line, year 2 under Brian Callahan? What are the vibes you feel around this team, and how optimistic are you that they can be better than they were last year?
Yeah, I think they can be pretty optimistic. Obviously the single biggest thing you can change in a team is the quarterback. And we've seen in years past, how much of a difference it can make if you find the right guy. In each of the last 2 years, a team that was not good, that was not expected to be good, found a quarterback that made an instant impact, and that team's fortunes were completely changed. You look at Washington last year with Jaden Daniels. You look at Houston the year before with C.J. Stroud. These were teams that were not supposed to be good even after selecting their quarterback, but the guy they got looked different than, even the other rookie quarterbacks at the top of the draft, and immediately those teams were completely different entities. So if Cam Ward is that guy this year, then it could completely transform everything about Tennessee.
Sam, what does Cam Ward need to improve on in training camp and hone in on to be ready for a good rookie season? We know about the window shopping, as he likes to say, and how good he is between 10 and 20 yards and often over the middle of the field. Where do you feel like he needs to make some adjustments and improvements in camp?
Yeah, and I think Cam Ward just needs to find the balance between big game hunting, going looking for those big plays and the explosives, and taking the profit. That idea of you're never going to go broke if you just take a profit. And it's a tough balance to find in the NFL, because nothing is more valuable than those explosive plays, those big game-changing plays that can put touchdowns on the board and completely change the outcomes. But they're harder to get. And if you're only chasing them, if you're only targeting those plays, you can miss a lot of chain moving first down type of plays that keep you in a better position overall in the game. So I think that's the balance he needs to try and find throughout this preseason and training camp, and try and get himself dialed in on what that aggressive balance is.
Sam Monson, the 33rd Team, with us this morning. Sam, when we discuss Cam Ward here, what does this wide receiver group look like him as far as how you project his success to be? Because not everybody is afforded to have a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins. What has to matter first? They help him, or he help elevate those wide receivers? What's that dynamic look like to you with Cam?
Yeah, it's tough for him because it doesn't look like the best, receiver core in the NFL on paper. And it looks like a group that, may struggle to help him along. Certainly isn't going to be, I think, aiding him in a massive way. Calvin Ridley is a good, solid route running separator, but I think his career has shown that he's, a clear number 2 wide receiver. And you look at this group and you don't see a number 1. Even if Tyler Lockett has a bounce-back season and shows that, he does have some more gas left in the tank, even if the other rookie, A.M. Maynor, hits the ground running and looks good, I don't know that too many people see sort of true number 1 receiver in his range of outcomes. That's the missing piece to this receiving core. It looks like a group of guys that can contribute, that can maybe get open, that can help Cam Ward along, but there is no Jamar Chase. There's no one guy who's going to dominate and, make his own yards and just destroy DBs one-on-one.
When you go to the other side of the ball, man, it's been documented here. I'm not sure if you know, but Jeffrey Simmons dropped weight to be a little bit more of an elusive pass rusher, to be a little bit more dynamic. I guess get into that conversation the way Chris Jones is, or Aaron Donald can be disruptive up the middle. What's the view of Jeffrey Simmons, and with that ability to get to the quarterback? Does that help this team, you think, by being a sack getter at the interior defensive line spot?
Yeah, I think Jeffrey Simmons has as much potential as any defensive tackle in the NFL. I think he is in that, Chris Jones, Jalen Carter category of guys that can be complete game wreckers and, absolutely dominate. But the thing I think that separates him, particularly from Jones, is he just doesn't do it as consistently, and never has in his NFL. Like, when you go all the way back, when he was drafted, he had the injury, and it was sort of late start for him. And then his very first game in the NFL, he was an absolute dominant force coming off that injury. And you're like, wow, they made, the right pick to draft him in spite of that injury, and he's going to be an absolute star. And he is sometimes, but it's just not as consistent as a guy like Jones, certainly not as Aaron Donald, when he was in the NFL. I do think he can be a potential game wrecker as a pass rusher, and maybe that's an attempt to unlock that consistency, to just say, look, let's just focus on consistent pressure all the time, give up a little bit against the run, but really go after the quarterback, and let's try and become as disruptive in that area as possible.
Sam Monson of the 33rd Team. Subscribe to Check the Mic wherever you download podcasts with him and Steve Palazzolo covering the NFL. Sam, when you look at Brian Callahan and his stock entering this season and having his own starting quarterback now, how much optimism do you have in his system and his ability to scheme guys open? Because locally, I feel like there was this idea that guys were open last year. It was just either Will Levis was throwing it to a different colored jersey or taking bad sacks. And maybe there were some plays to be had that just weren't hit last year that Callahan was scheming up. Do you get that sense entering the season that that's a fair assessment of this team's problems?
Yeah, I do. I think that's true. You look at Will Levis, and obviously he became a kind of caricature with the meme plays and the ridiculous turnovers. There weren't actually that many of those. The problem, I think, more for Will Levis was all that he was leaving on the table, the plays you're talking about. It was that he wasn't offsetting those plays with production. And you could live with a certain number of those, terrible plays and critical turnovers, particularly when it is a relatively low number, if you're making positive plays and you're picking up what's there and you're moving the ball and there's production on the other side. The real issue for Levis is that he just wasn't bringing any of that to the table. And so he just became this caricature of a quarterback, and we remembered all the terrible plays. But the bigger problem, I think, was how much he was leaving on the table and not taking advantage of. And I think that's the biggest area where Cam Ward can take a huge step forward. If he's just able to, pick up the low-hanging fruit and move the ball and actually get this offense ticking, then even if he has the same number of terrible plays as Will Levis, it's going to be a dramatic night and day difference.
Say, when you look at Dan Moore and the value he brings to the Titans at left tackle, the money aside as a separate entity, because the market kind of dictated that a little bit for the Titans. We've talked a lot with Ramon about this, but I'm curious to get your thoughts. What about Dan Moore can he do that you can't teach? Because there's this idea that there's untapped potential and a high ceiling there that Bill Callahan can bring out of him. What does he do that maybe the standard, basic, middle-of-the-road offensive lineman can't do that doesn't have that potential?
He's an interesting player because, if you look at PFF grades over his NFL career, in games where he doesn't play Myles Garrett, he's basically been a league average offensive tackle. And there's value in being an average offensive tackle because, the Titans have shown for a few years you can be a lot worse than an average offensive tackle. And when you are, you've got some problems. So, there's a reason to pay for a guy that has been rank average, even if that is all he is. And as you said, there's hope that with his size and athletic profile that there's more to come in there. But when he plays Myles Garrett, he's basically the worst offensive tackle in the NFL. And that's not unique to Dan Moore. That's the kind of thing that Myles Garrett can do to people. But it is bizarre. I've never seen a player that has splits so wild where, just against one player, he's basically non-functional, but against almost anybody else, he's perfectly serviceable. I think he's an average caliber player with a little bit more potential in the tank if, the coaching is able to upgrade what he does on a down-to-down basis.
Circling back real quick to Will's question about Levis in a sense, or that comparison from one to Cam. What is the future like for Will Levis moving forward, who was reported he elected to get surgery? I don't think his future here in Nashville is much longer, but I also say to the idea that somebody might kick the tires on him. What's his viewership like for you guys moving forward? Or your take
Yeah,
on it?
I mean, I think it's a smart thing for him to do is, look, let's get the surgery, get 100% healthy. As you said, his career in Tennessee probably doesn't exist any longer anyway. Or if it does, it's as a backup. So you might as well get 100% healthy and then take another run at the NFL, whether it's in Tennessee or somewhere else. The thing that I think helps Will Levis is this recent run of reclamation project quarterbacks, guys like Sam Darnold and Geno Smith and to a lesser extent Baker Mayfield, because, these guys have shown that you can fail and you can fail badly in your first spot and maybe even your second spot. But if there's something there, if the talent is there, then maybe you just need to find the right coach and the right environment and a bit of time to learn on the sideline and develop. And then when you get another shot down the line, you're able to perform at a different level. So, I think you're going to see a bunch of guys, whether it's Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, these guys that have not performed yet at their first spot, I think immediately become intriguing reclamation projects for other teams and coaches in particular, guys like Kevin O'Connell and, guys like that. And we've already seen Matt LaFleur sort of resuscitate a quarterback there in Green Bay. I think you're going to see those guys start to gravitate towards some of these failed early quarterbacks and give them another shot.
Also, just a little bit around the NFL, if you don't mind. What is Cincinnati, man, without Trey Hendrickson and also Shamar Stewart? They got what we think is a generational guy with a high-powered offense, and they still went 9-8 last year. Who wins this in the end for Cincinnati? As Mike Brown is out saying a little bit about his players right now.
Yeah, I mean, Hendrickson in particular, I think they need to get him in the building, get him going. Like, they need Trey Hendrickson. He was a dominant force last year. He was an all-pro caliber pass rusher on a defense that outside of him had basically nothing going. So I expect the defense overall to have a better baseline of play this year, but they need Hendrickson. Like, he's by far the best player on that unit and the one consistent source of pressure they have. And I think, like, what they're haggling over is just, it's not worth it. They need, like you said, they've got an offense that's prepared to win now. They need some help on the defensive side. The thing with Shamar Stewart, I think, is tougher because that's a real standoff where I think you can see both sides of the argument. The Bengals are trying to put in language that is not uncommon. It exists throughout the NFL. A bunch of other teams use it for basically every player. The problem is they're trying to do it randomly and break precedent. They didn't do it a year ago for a guy that was drafted lower than Shamar Stewart. So, from the Bengals' point of view, they're saying, look, this is not uncommon language. Why wouldn't we put this in? Look at all these other teams that have it. From Shamar Stewart's point of view, they're looking at it and saying, why us? Why now? Why did you not do it a year ago? We don't want to be the guy that gets screwed because you want to start putting in this beneficial language. So it's tough because I think you can reasonably see the case in either side, and they're on a stare down right now.
Sam Monson of the 33rd Team. Check the mic wherever you download podcasts with us this morning. Sam, new Colts owner Carly Ursay Gordon says that Anthony Richardson still has time to prove it, says they still have time with him. How surprised will you be if he is the week one starting quarterback in Indy? Is Daniel Jones the better fit for what Shane Steichen wants this offense to be?
He might be, but I think they want Richardson to win that job. It's not a fair competition in terms of if it's 60-40 Daniel Jones in training camp and preseason. I think the 40 that's Anthony Richardson still wins the job and they start him week one. It needs to be conclusive that it's good, that it's Daniel Jones, over the next month or two for them to go in the other direction. But I do think that if Daniel Jones wins this job, you can reasonably argue that it's easily the best situation that he's ever been in terms of it's a better receiving core that he's ever worked with. It's probably a better offensive line than he's ever worked with. The coach is good, and the backfield is good with a guy like Jonathan Taylor. So this could easily be the best season that Daniel Jones has had in the NFL if he stays healthy and he wins this job and we get the best version of him that we see.
It's funny, Sam. It feels like we talk so much about Indy and Jacksonville because they are more peers of the Titans and chasing Houston in this division that we kind of forget to talk about Houston and evaluate where they are with the 2 Iowa State receivers they drafted, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, but the subtraction of Laramie Tunsil. What is this offense going to look like? Can they be better than they were last year with Bobby Slowick? Because it's hard for me to imagine that offensive line really taking a big step forward when you subtract someone at the caliber of Laramie Tunsil at maybe the second most important position in this sport.
Yeah, I mean, they should be better on the basis that it would be hard to be much worse.
Right.
But you're right. It's an unusual approach to basically taking a terrible offensive line and trading away the one good player that they had and hoping that that improves it. It's not. It doesn't work that way in your brain. It's counterintuitive. It is interesting, and I don't know how much weight to put in this, and maybe someone like Ramon who's been in NFL locker rooms has a better idea, but it's remarkable how much sort of venom was directed towards Laramie Tunsil from people in and around the Houston building in terms of what a pain in the ass he was in the locker room, what a me first type of guy, what the word soft was thrown around a lot when it describing his play. So even with everyone acknowledging how good he is as a pass protector, a lot of people there think that it's a net positive to get him out of the building. And, maybe that's just sour grapes. That's just the way you sell yourself on it. But there's probably something to that. I don't know if it's enough to offset the difference in quality between him and a guy like Cam Robinson, but it's certainly a factor.
Sam, I look at that situation, I say as bad as Houston somewhat was with him, he became the guy so much that I feel like they allowed it. They paid him, then they paid him again, and then he was the only thing they had there for a while up until late. I think what has happened is the idea that they got a new guy they can go to in C.J. Stroud, that they don't have to deal with him. Like, that does happen, man. When you are king of the hill at your position or the king of the hill on your team, you rub people the wrong way in those moments, especially when you're a losing type of franchise. And they had been under those last 2 or 3 coaches before they got D'Amico Ryan. It's personality stuff is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Sam Monson always brings it with us wherever you download podcasts. Check the mic with him and Steve Palazzolo. Great stuff. We love working with these guys and having them on regularly here on the show. That means football is back as well. Appreciate you, Sam. Thanks so much.
Sam.
Anytime, guys. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Sam Monson with us here this morning, allowing Titans fans to feel optimistic. I like it.
That's fascinating that he said that about Laramie Tunsil, because you got to think they gave up a haul to go get him. They paid him immediately. Then he got paid again, and I think one more time too. Sometimes you can create issues for your own self and not even thinking about it.
Some players are allowed to be divas. Some guys are allowed to have headaches. As much as he was getting paid and as late in his career as it was getting, I understand wanting to move forward and find another younger guy that can turn into maybe Laramie Tunsil one day. That's just a challenge for me when you have a rookie contract quarterback, though, because your window is wide open and it's not going to be for much longer until you have to pay C.J. Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the challenge. Some guys, their play outweighs their headaches. And I know Laramie Tunsil was a heavily penalized player and maybe was a guy they wanted to get out of the building, but doesn't his play force you to just make it work?
Yeah, it should.
Okay. Like, am I crazy?
No.
I'm not the one who's been in locker rooms of the NFL for 11 years, so you tell me.
Most coaches say they'll deal with a guy until they find a replacement. That placement may be a rung or two lower.
It might be Ariante Ursary, the second-round pick out of Minnesota.
But that is also where our conversation about, like, Nico and demands and stuff, like when you're at the quarterback position, you are expected to elevate others around you. You can hide, is what I'm telling you in those moments. Balancing a team is hard for head coaches and GMs and everybody involved in it.
Yep. All right. Well, I will see you tomorrow at Tennessee Titans training camp.
Absolutely.
We're excited.
Yeah. I got to step out for a little bit to go do some dadding stuff. So
that's all good.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you holding it down for me.
Well, the R in R&W will be replaced by Robert, his government name. I feel weird calling Bert Robert.
I know, it's weird. But finally, Robert can come in here and be appreciated.
Robert joins us next. Wrapping up the show on R and W. There's just a different R in here right now. To finish off your Tuesday morning football practice tomorrow at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Ramon Foster will be there with us for it. But right now, the R in this show is Robert Walsh.
What's going on, gang?
It feels weird calling you by your given government name, calling you Robert.
Yeah, and that's the problem with being in higher management, you know. all of these new kids calling me Sir, Mr. No, that's my Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh is my father.
That's right. Who's calling you Mr. Walsh?
A bunch of these kids, man. These kids. But we have a super exciting week, dude. I can barely contain. My toes are curled around the bar of this chair right now. I am perched like an eagle, ready for training camp.
And that's
week.
just. Yeah, that's right. And that's just because you get to hang out with Kirby.
Oh. See, and that's the problem. This is the problem. Last week I was sick. I had bronchitis. I haven't had a cigarette since last Monday. I know that when I get there, Kirby is going to want to smoke. Naturally. We have a symbiotic relationship. We both feed each other's natures. I know that when I get there, Kirby is going to go like, all right, let's go smoke. And I'm going to have to tell him, Kirby, I can't smoke like that right now. Yeah. And he is going to call me a weenie. I am not looking forward to Kirby calling me a weenie and telling me how when he was a kid, he had to smoke up hills both ways. I'm not looking forward to that. I am looking forward to seeing people on the field, though.
I look forward to Kirby trying to convince you that it will cure your bronchitis. Like, oh, hell, this will help you. Here, take this.
It's like when you get stuck with like the flu virus. Like it's what the hell are those called? Why am I so dumb today?
A vaccine?
A vaccine, yes. Cigarettes are like a vaccine. Yes, it's like you just have to engulf yourself in the cigarette smoke. You'll be okay.
What not named Cam Ward? Who not named Cam Ward are you most excited to see on the practice field tomorrow?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, the rookies. I'm infatuated with rookies every single year. I think that's like a common thread amongst football fans. Excited to see how quickly they contribute. I'm excited to see Gunnar Helm. Every video of him, he looks like a big baby. He looks like a human-sized baby. So I'm excited to see what he looks like in person. Maybe get to talk to Morgan Cox, Ravens legend. You know, just
16-year vet.
Yeah, a couple special teams aces out there. Yeah. Excited to hear the coaches talk. That was my favorite part of it last year. We're going to get out and hear the coaches coach on the field with outside linebacker coach Ben Bloom is a character. Yeah. I remember we were at training camp last year and he's lining everybody up. Arden's on one side and they're doing get-off drills. And he's like, all right, guys, we're going to bleep stuff up today. We are going to bleep it up. And they're like, all right, ready, guys, go. And Arden jumps offside. He's like, we're not going to bleep it up like that. All right, line it up. Do it again. I love hearing the interactions between the coaches. It's just a lot of fun, man. Nice. A lot of fun.
I like it. No, I think, too, now that we have some reporting out there about the PUP list and about L'Jarius Sneed and Lloyd Cushenberry, are we working under the assumption that Kevin Winston Jr. is back?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because he is someone, him and Kalel Mullings both, who weren't on the field for rookie minicamp or OTAs or mandatory minicamp. And I know you guys played the audio of Jim Wyatt on our show yesterday saying, like, those are kind of the four guys he was looking at in terms of what their status would be. Kevin Winston Jr., Kalel Mullings, Lloyd Cushenberry, and L'Jarius Sneed. I am excited to learn and see what Kevin Winston Jr.'s role in this defense is because he can be, I'm not going to put Kyle Hamilton level expectations on him, but in terms of profile of player,
he can be
deployed player. In the same way as a rangy box safety who's also got the athleticism to cover when he needs to as well as just a long safety. And it's probably unfair to just say a guy that's tall as safety could be compared to Kyle Hamilton, but it does feel like we are trending more towards that position being more a position of strength and a position of value for NFL defenses.
For sure. And a kind of a positionless defense where like he can play in the box, he can play in the slot, he could be a sub linebacker, you can move him around. I think it is a win if he gets to practice. If he's practicing, I don't even need to see him in the preseason. Just get him practicing. Right. And that would be a huge win for them. I super excited to see what Denard Wilson does with him.
I am too. I mean, that was the thing with Jeff coming off his ACL back in 2019. It was that Chargers game when he was able to make his debut. And he had, I want to say, tore his ACL in the offseason, Jeff did, going into his rookie season when he was drafted in 2019 by the Titans. Like, Kevin Winston Jr. has had recovery time already, and ACL injuries, again, aren't what they used to be. Not to diminish probably the hard work he's done to get back, but I think the hope would be that Kevin Winston Jr. is playing a role within this defense by October or November. I think would be great.
That would be super beneficial. And I think you would, that way, there's not so much of the cost of entry with him drafting him in the third round, him being injured. Like, you still get a piece of his rookie year. He still gets the development of his rookie year. That would be a huge win.
That's one of the questions I will have for the Titans people as soon as we get to sit down with them at camp is like learning about him and Mullings both, of like the recovery process, the expectations of when they can play a part on this team. Noon press conference today. You guys will have it live.
That's correct.
Anything else you want to tease for the people coming up next?
Ooh, I'll tease the fun stuff that I want to do.
Okay,
we are going to, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, the AAC unveiled their new rebranding, a new mascot. Soar, the Eagle. And I would like to find out, Lucas, he knows a lot about the SEC. He knows a lot of my blind spots. If the SEC was going to have a mascot, what would their mascot be? So not Owl, not Smokey, not any of like the SEC schools mascots. What would the SEC as a whole, what would their mascot be?
Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, okay.
There's my submission. You know,
I like that.
The Providence Friar is just like a bald guy. Like, have you seen the Providence mascot?
Oh, yeah.
You could make that. That's basically already Paul Feinbaum. Just steal the Providence Friar mascot for the Big East and put a SEC logo that says it just means more on the top of it.
I love it.
There you go. I appreciate you hanging out for
Hey, no problem, buddy.
Ramon doing dad stuff. Had to leave a little bit early. So we will see him tomorrow. We will see Bert tomorrow. And if you're at practice, we'll see many of you tomorrow. Titans training camp is here. Noon presser today. Stay locked into the zone. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
And always remember that your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.